All right, guys, welcome back for the second debate today on Modern Day Debate. I'm your host, Mike, or as James likes to switch around the name plaques here, Big Mike, Magic Mike, whatever other adjective he wants to throw in there. Just don't call me late for dinner. We're going to do today a flat earther versus pilot. We got Iron Horse and Carl. I think let me see here. Yeah, the thing right next to me shows that we did add Jay Dyer to a pregame event and one of the main debaters on the other 2 days of DebateCon 8. So if you don't have your tickets, get those. And if you can't make it, become a member at the final word level. Let me see. I got a little plug for that right there. That's going to allow you to watch it live on the stream that we do with Uncensored America. Sean's going to be live streaming all those at super high quality. And then they'll be available to rewatch for members for the first several weeks. If you don't get a membership, you're going to have to wait. So that being said, we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to let Iron Horse go first here. And we're going to do 5-10 minute openings is the typical opening. I guess if you know you go a minute or two over that, I'll let Carl be the judge of if we're just going to go ahead and cut it there. But I think you're both interested in hearing what each other has to say and make a good argument towards it. So let's get into it. Carl, I'll start a timer, and then we'll go into, after this, a 60-minute open dialogue, and then the audience Q&A, which is their favorite part, obviously. So, guys, if you have some questions you want to ask either of them, a pilot and or a certified bona fide flat earther, send those super chats, and I will ask them. And yes, Chad, he is very snazzy today. Agreed. All right. Whenever you start talking, I will start the timer.
Rightio. Well, greetings once again, modern day debate and all interested listeners. Today is a first for me, as rather than being an invited guest to argue my position and knowledge about the stationary planar Earth fixed at the base of the universe, it was actually myself who took the initiative to arrange this debate, which Dr. James Kunz was kindly provided the platform, and Mike so cordially agreed to moderate. So I can openly discuss the merits of either the stationary planar Earth I know we live upon versus the fantasy ball twirling and whirling through a vacuum of space my opponent has been brainwashed to believe we live upon. With that, I'd like to kindly welcome and thank my opponent, Carl Becker, an international pilot with 30 years flying experience, whom I've encountered on Facebook over several years now. I've made at least 3 videos, formerly some time ago, discussing our back and forths. And for my part, I'm extremely grateful that Carl could be with us today. In my experience, those who come here to defend the spinning spaceball typically have little more than a lifetime of indoctrination and media reinforcement from every platform. So to cordially debate with a professional who regularly flies from A to B and maybe even B to C is a great privilege. As if anyone should know the Earth is spinning, the rate of curvature drop, and how to balance our orbital speed around the sun, which is calculated to be almost 87 times the speed of a jet breaking the sound barrier with a sonic boom, it will be Carl. For my part, I can trace my history of first hearing the Earth is flat back over 20 years ago, where a highly respected, recently retired merchant sea captain openly confessed to me he believes the Earth is flat. I thought he was insane. For what it's worth, it led to the downfall of my first marriage as we drove home later that day, and I couldn't shut up about how crazy I thought her father must be trying to claim the Earth is flat. Again, I'll admit my ignorance at the time. When Captain Per Akerson, now retired, told me the Suez Canal was one of his clearest examples of how the Earth must be flat, my response was that 100 miles is nowhere near long enough to detect Earth's curvature. Earth is simply too big. However, about 10 years ago, Flat Earth suddenly hit the social media platforms in a big way, and when highly intelligent, respected friends of mine began saying it's flat, I thought it would be easy to debunk them and prove the globe Earth I'd thoroughly believed all my life. It would be a no-brainer. Until I discovered the Earth curvature formula. Unlike a slope, which would be barely noticed if it was just dropped 8 inches per mile, which is conveniently 8 centimetres per kilometre, curvature is exponential, which means for every additional mile, we must square the distance, such that 2 miles is 2 squared equals 4, times 8 is 32 inches, 3 miles is 9 times 8, 72 inches, and so on, until after 100 miles, the amount of curvature drop across is 10,000 times 10 inches, which is 6,666.67 feet, which with 5,200 feet to a mile means from one end of the Suez Canal to the other, there must exist about two and a half Burj Khalifas of curvature drop, the world's tallest building, or if you prefer, about 4.6 Empire State Buildings per 100 miles. My opponent is going to attempt to bamboozle the audience with fancy terms and technology. He'll attempt to dismiss the exponential curvature drop per 100 miles by describing a slope Earth. He'll say, we just dropped 8 inches in 1 mile, then another 8 in the next, and that over each mile of distance, 8 inches is barely noticeable, which should be quite true. However, the biggest enemy of his argument will be time itself, or rather distance over time, what we also call speed. Carl has kindly agreed previously that we should calculate an average speed of 600 miles per hour for a cruising passenger airliner, so I'll gladly work with that figure. Despite preconceived biases about most flat earthers, I was once a natural at maths, and I could even do long division in my head before they introduced the calculator in year 9, and I allowed that part of my brain to atrophy. But with pen and paper, I can still calculate most anything, and as you can see behind me, hopefully, I've written out the curvature drop calculation for a plane flying 600 miles per hour over a sphere of 24,901 miles circumference. And this isn't even beginning to account for the 1,000 mile per hour rotation of the ground beneath the plane, nor the 66,600 mile per hour trajectory of the orbital speed around the sun. While the globe model absolutely depends upon these speeds being real, you'll find the most ardent defenders of the belief, like my opponent, Captain Carl, doing everything they possibly can to avoid acknowledging them, and in fact vehemently denying them, quoting from the compendium of quotes that the Gospel of Globetardia regurgitates with unparalleled repetition. My inertial reference frame of reference, my speeds are relative, my atmosphere moves with me, even though wind itself is sufficient to suck the hot air out of every last one of those lame excuses they cling to in order to stay translucent to reality. And this will remain the quagmire my opponent will stay bogged in throughout this engagement. I've no doubt he'll appeal to all manner of technology and reference frames to attempt to bamboozle me and the entire audience, as every charlatan always plays the "you don't understand" card, while speaking in esoteric code and secret cult language to keep the uninitiated in awe of their advanced knowledge. As a simple logician, I'll be sticking to common sense, observable reality, and facts that Carl will be forced to admit are true. For example, he will admit that the ground spinning 1 1/3 times the speed of sound beneath his plane, which must be different for every degree of latitude change, is never even considered. The excuses used, such as the atmosphere moving with us or inertial reference frame, can be easily dismissed with the razor of Occam, whereby any explanation with the lesser number of assumptions is most likely more correct. We fly above the Earth as though it's flat and stationary because it is flat and stationary. Unlike some of my contemporaries, I don't make the claim we should nose down 1/2 mile a minute to prevent flying off into space. I even once made a detailed video explaining why, as I understand flight quite well from my armchair perspective, with a personal interest in making my own free energy airship or flying blimp. And so I've carefully analysed all aspects of flight and propulsion. My idea of a neutral buoyancy airship is practically the complete opposite of a turbine-driven winged projectile, where the wings require thrust through the medium of air to give lift. Thus, as the air gets thinner and thinner with altitude due to relative density, the plane would require greater thrust to gain lift, therefore maintaining a happy equilibrium of both drop and lift to maintain flying level. In fact, the only difference between the two models is it stays plain sailing, well, flying through the air as we witness and feel, whereas on the spinning space ball, we've already assumed remains stationary relative to our craft. At 600 miles per hour, we'd be dropping 1.5 Burj Khalifas a minute to maintain a constant altitude from the unseen curving surface. Once again, I invoke Occam's razor to state that the most obvious explanation with the least unseen and unproven assumptions must be the correct explanation. The Earth looks, behaves, and is navigated as flat and stationary because it is indeed flat and stationary. I'll be more than happy to explain GPS
2 minutes
or
left.
ground positioning system in the open discussion. Thank you for listening.
Okay, that was 8 minutes. All right, we're going to turn it over to Mr. Carl here. Guys, like the video, please. Help push in the algo. Be very helpful. And I'll start the timer as soon as you start talking.
Okay, I do not need 8 minutes. First of all, my background. So I grew up on a boat or around boats in Boston, Massachusetts. I learned how to navigate at a very young age. When I graduated high school, I went off to the Coast Guard. I became a patrol boat commander for the United States Coast Guard, both in Boston and then down in Florida. I used the GI Bill, part of the benefits of being in the military. I used that to go to aviation college at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, Florida. When I was there, I studied aeronautics, and I also had a concentration in astronautics, which is a study of a little bit of orbital mechanics, space navigation, spacecraft systems, that kind of thing. I did get a degree in aeronautics, and also I learned how to fly there as well. So I got my civilian certified flight instructor's license, instrument, and my multi-engine rating at Embry-Riddle. After that, I flight instructed for a little while until the U.S. Navy picked me up. So I watched Top Gun. This was way back in 1987-ish. So I was kind of a fan of Top Gun. The Navy picked me up. I went off to flight school for the United States Navy. I was there for 20 years in the United States Navy. So I flew fast jets. I flew an airplane called the Goshawk. Then I was on the EA-6B. I was on 3 different aircraft carriers, the Lincoln, the Vincent, and the John F. Kennedy. And I saw some combat time actually over in this neck of the woods. I actually live in Dubai now. I'll get to that in a minute. I also did testing on the EA-6B for the Navy. And then I also did testing for Boeing on the F-18G, which was the follow-on aircraft to the EA-6B. I've flown those airplanes all around the world. We came over here to the Middle East, obviously, to do some combat operations. So I've flown fighter jets over the ocean. I've landed on ships. I've taken off on ships. I've navigated ships. Then after my Navy career, or kind of during it, I actually stayed in the Navy Reserves for a while. I flew 747s for an airline out of Hong Kong. So I got picked up as a first officer on 747s. I flew 747s all over the world. From Hong Kong all the way to Southern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere, Europe, Asia, everywhere. Eventually, I switched over to the 777 as the 747, kind of the -4 anyway, kind of became a little bit less efficient. So they switched over to the 777. So I flew that for a while with Cathay. Then I switched airlines. I'm now a what's called an examiner, a pilot examiner, and a pilot instructor, still on the 777 for an airline based out of Dubai. So I live in Dubai. In that period, I got laid off for COVID. So I bought this boat. I actually live on a boat in Dubai, and I've sailed this boat halfway around the world. So I bought this boat in Germany. I've sailed the Baltic Sea, the North Sea, across the Mediterranean Sea a few times, then across the Atlantic, and I sailed this boat into the Caribbean. Luckily, the airline called me back, so I came back here. I actually hired a crew to sail this boat back here to Dubai, and now we're sailing around here in the Middle East, but I also still work for the airline based out of Dubai. So I still keep my type ratings up in the 777, so I'm still an active, I still fly, but primarily I do flight instruction and flight examining. So I actually sign licenses off for the pilots for this airline here. So that's my story. Now, I've navigated all around this thing, and distances alone prove that the Earth is a ball. There's all sorts of other ways that I can prove it. I mean, I've seen the curvature myself from high altitude above 45,000 feet. Great circle routes. You can, debate hub and spoke systems and flight routes and all that kind of stuff. None of that's really needed. I can show you pictures of Earth from space that Ross would deny. None of that's needed. Pictures can be manipulated. We don't need any of that. Distances alone, and we're not even talking about flight times. We're just talking about distances around the Earth. And I've flown all around the Earth. It's impossible for the Earth to be flat. I'm not biased. I don't really care. It would be fun if the Earth was flat, but it just isn't. And I'll be happy to debate Ross. I can see some of his diagrams up there. I can see a map right behind his head. That map does not match this map, and we'll talk about exactly why and how it's impossible for the Earth to be flat. That's all I got to say.
All right. Thank you for your opening. We are going to get into the open dialogue. I'll start a timer for 60 minutes. And then if you guys could just do your best to not talk over each other, let each person speak, answer a question before you ask it, and so on and so forth. You guys get it? I'll start that timer right now. And go ahead.
Go ahead, Ross. Give me your best. First of all, I want you to explain that whiteboard you have over there behind your head.
Oh, the whiteboard. I just wrote down a few measurements so that I'd recall them off the top of my head. I don't know if you can see them there. It just says that at 600 miles in 1 hour, you'd be dropping some. I can't even read from back here. I'll stand up.
Yeah, get up and show me.
So you're going to be dropping 45.45 miles in that period of time, which if you divide that by 60, it equals 3/4 of a mile per minute. That's how much drop you should be taking to stay parallel to a curve if you're going 600 miles per hour. The other one I did is 500 miles per hour, and so that's just half a mile per minute, which is only 1 Burj Khalifa per minute. That's how much you should drop every minute to stay parallel to a ball curved of 24,901 miles circumference. The other one I did down here is just 8 inches per mile, which is your slope Earth, which is what you believe in. So at 600 miles per hour, you would only drop 400 feet on a slope, or 4,800 inches. So if the Earth was a slope and you just dropped 8 inches per mile, that's how much you drop, 400 feet. You wouldn't notice that in 1 hour. But because this curve is exponential, in 1 hour, over 600 miles, you would actually be dropping 45.45 miles, which you divide that by 60 is 3/4 of a mile a minute. That's my diagram.
All right. So first of all, do you believe that airplane that's flying, so you have that horizontal line there, correct? You see that horizontal line?
Yeah.
That's not level flight. That's a climb. Look carefully at the Earth. If you're sitting on the Earth, that line that you have that's horizontal, you're climbing into space. And then you have a drop. So that's not forward flight, Ross. The airplane is never here. Let me show you.
Obviously, you don't fly into space.
Do you see my whiteboard?
Yes, I see your whiteboard.
This is forward
flight. Looks like mine.
I know. This is forward flight as what you have, and then this is drop. Do you agree with that?
100%.
Which one's forward flight now, Ross? The red is now forward flight. So the drop actually becomes forward flight. And this is a climb.
So you're saying that a plane flies straight down?
No, I'm not saying that at all. Which one's right? Do you believe I'm right? Do you believe my board's right or your board's right? Is this forward flight or is it a drop? Which one's right?
That would be the drop that the plane has to follow, which would have to be an exponential curve.
But the airplane is never
height above the Earth the whole time. It's not going to just suddenly
never
drop
in this position.
Once it gets 600 miles out. It's not going to suddenly go straight down to come back.
But the airplane's never in this position, Ross. You have forward flight being. This is a climb. This is not following the curvature of the Earth. This is a climb. If you're right here on Earth, you would watch the airplane climb into outer space, and then it would drop. That's not how it works. That's
what I've already agreed with you. Doesn't happen. I've already agreed with that. I've already said that you're only going to give sufficient lift to stay parallel to the surface. But that amount of drop over that amount of time, if you're traveling 600 miles in 1 hour, that's the amount of drop that you are going to be following in 1 hour. And you would notice that because it's like
not a drop, Ross. It's not a drop. As the airplane follows the curvature of the Earth, where's my airplane? Here's my airplane.
Well, it has to be.
Hold on, Ross. Let him say his point.
As the airplane follows the curvature of the Earth, the drop becomes forward flight. Do you see that? So then when you're like this and the airplane's flying this way, the drop is actually forward flight. So it's not dropping. Forward flight becomes the drop as the airplane follows the curvature.
How can you say in the same breath that the drop is forward flight and then it's not drop? It has to be the drop.
Let's go like this. Do you see this? So at one point during this flight, so we're saying that this is a quarter of the way around the Earth, right?
No, it's
this
only
is a quarter. This is the worst case scenario. This is a quarter of the way. Okay. This is a quarter of the way around the Earth.
6,500
miles. So let's take the airplane flying an eighth of the way around the Earth. So at some point, the airplane's going to be here. Do you agree? Flying above the surface of the Earth. Do you agree that the airplane's going to be here? Do you agree with that?
Totally.
So where's forward flight here? Which vector is forward and which vector is down?
Well, it has to be both, doesn't it?
It does. Has to be both. So it's not a drop, Ross. It's forward flight. Just like this isn't a climb. Anymore? That's not a climb. That is forward flight. When the airplane's
down is no longer a drop. Is that what you're trying to say?
It's not dropping. It's the forward
flight.
Dropping,
it's just down.
It's just, well, it's not down. The Earth curves like this. As the airplane flies along the curve, this becomes forward flight. This is forward flight here. When the airplane's here, this is forward flight. But as the airplane follows the curvature of the Earth, this, which was drop, is now forward flight. The airplane's never in this. Do you agree, Ross, that the airplane's never in this position? It's never here.
Absolutely.
Okay. So then how is this relevant? It's not drop.
So you will gladly admit to me, won't you, as a captain of the aircraft, you will admit that the plane flies with a sort of an upward tilt of about 3 degrees, between 2 and 3 degrees.
Yeah, but but you can't conflate pitch with level flight, because the pitch.
I'm not.
Well, so this is what happens. Are you familiar with angle of attack?
Sure.
Okay, so angle of attack for our viewers at home. So angle of attack, in order to create the lift over the wings necessary to stay level, the airplane has to pitch up a bit. And that creates the airflow over the wing, which creates a low pressure system on the top of the wing, which lifts the airplane up like this. All right. So in order to just fly level, you have to have about a 3-degree pitch up, and that will make it level.
Yeah.
Now, so as the airplane goes forward, it's not that you're pitching down to follow the curvature. You're just not pitching up as much. And the airplane naturally flies the curvature. Do you know how much curvature there is so with forward flight, how far do we have to go to get a degree of curvature?
Yeah, that's what I got up there. So in 69 miles, you've got 1 degree.
That's correct. So it's 1 degree of arc. So it's 1 degree of arc over 69 miles.
And that's about 3,700 feet.
No, it's not, because the airplane's not dropping. Do you know the definition of level, Ross?
Yes, I do, actually.
Okay, well, when you look at level, do you see this? Do you see what that says? Wait, let me turn down the brightness.
Oh, you're going to use a dictionary definition to use.
No, this is Webster. This is Webster's dictionary. Yeah. So what that says is level conforming to the curvature of the liquid parts of the Earth's surface.
Okay. Have you ever seen water curving?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the ocean curving?
Absolutely.
Up in the air?
Yeah.
So, look, I'm really good at optics. One of my specialties is optics, and I look at the ocean quite a lot, and I can tell when something's curved by the degree of, say, shading as we'd see upon it. And I can see, as far as the eye can see all the way to the horizon, there is no curvature whatsoever. It is absolutely flat and level.
Are you talking lateral? So, you're talking lateral curvature from left to right.
Any sort, front to back, left to right. I don't care. It's
flat.
It's
fine.
Water
I understand.
Is always flat.
No, it's not. Well, when
by
you get up high enough, have you ever flown at 45,000 feet, Ross?
Not personally, no.
Okay, I have. Now, whether you believe me or not, when you can choose to. I've seen the curvature of the Earth from 45,000 feet,
No, you
and
haven't.
from a lot less altitude than that. Now, I've seen that's lateral curvature. That's from left to right. Now,
No, you
at a
haven't.
much lower altitude. Now, I've shown you the HUD pictures, right? I've shown you what a heads-up display looks like.
We've
You
all
remember I
seen
showed you
Neil
that?
deGrasse Tyson talk about the Felix Baumgartner high altitude drop at 127,000 feet. There is no curvature. You cannot see the curvature from 2 millimeters above this beach ball. So how you can see it at 45,000 feet just means that you're only seeing it in your head. You're deluded.
Come on. First of all, let's keep it kind of cordial, okay? I'm not going to make fun of you. Don't make fun of me. I'm here. I'm taking my time at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm taking my time.
I appreciate both of your times. Let's keep it respectful. Let's try not to talk over each other.
But I've shown you this, right? So this is a heads-up display. The thing that's circled in red is the actual pitch up to get the angle of attack on the wings necessary in order to create the lift. The long green horizontal line is level flight. The horizon, the actual horizon, is about 2 degrees below the long horizontal line. Why? Because the Earth is curving down in a... Ross, let me speak. The Earth is curving down and away. The Earth is curving down and away from the nose of the airplane at the rate of 1 degree every 69.2 miles.
Okay, so you're saying that 2 degrees above that, that's a 140-mile drop, but it's not.
No, it's not a 140-mile drop.
Flat. It's clearly flat and level, and all that is demonstrating is elevation above a flat surface, because you are actually 45,000 feet above a flat surface, which due to perspective is going to rise to eye level, and that tiny amount of drop is what we call elevation.
It doesn't rise to eye level, Ross. Eye level is the long green horizontal line.
Eye level is air and atmosphere, and we can see through it, and the stuff that's beneath you is that height. If there was something 45,000 feet above that surface at that distance, that line would match its height.
No, it doesn't, Ross. No, it doesn't.
There's no curvature.
No, Ross.
Where's the curvature? Show me the curves.
I did. It curves down and away from the front of the airplane.
Yeah, you showed drop because of elevation, and you admitted that you're already nosed up 2 or 3 degrees.
But the nose up has nothing to do with the actual horizon dropping away and down from the nose of the airplane. The pitch up has nothing to do with that. The pitch up is only there to create lift on the wings. It has nothing to do with maintain it. You're just maintaining altitude by pitching up to create the lift necessary to counter the weight of the airplane. That's all the pitch up does. It has nothing to do with maintaining level. In fact, even when people walk up and down the airplane, the pitch of the airplane changes. When people walk forward, you can actually see it. When people walk forward, the airplane actually gets nose heavy and he wants to pitch down, but the autopilot then raises the nose again. So there's all these factors that go into actually the autopilot keeping the airplane at a level altitude.
But that's still got nothing to do with curvature, though, does it?
No, it doesn't. So pitch up has nothing to do with curvature. It doesn't.
Exactly. And that's the whole point. You fly as though the Earth is flat and stationary.
No,
the plane
we
don't. As though it's flat and stationary. And we've just proven that the Earth is flat and stationary. Thanks for playing, Carl.
I'm sure that your audience would disagree.
Should I wrap it up here? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
All right, we got another 45 minutes or so. Let's get it, guys.
Well, first of all, let's go back to this, Ross. Do you agree that that drop in the red arrow is not drop the whole time? It actually becomes forward flight. Do you agree with that? So your whole premise of having to drop, your whole premise of having to drop whatever it was, however many Burj Khalifas, it's not valid. Because it's not a drop. It actually, as the airplane follows the curvature of the Earth, the drop becomes forward flight. So let's get that premise out of the way.
So you are admitting that it's dropping a Burj Khalifa every 500 miles.
It's not a drop, Ross. Because the airplane follows
to the curvature of the Earth that you believe in.
It's not a drop.
If the Earth is curved in accordance to the calculations that you believe in, over a 500-mile of distance, there has to be, well, actually, it's at 60-mile of distance. In every 60 miles on the globe, there has to be a Burj Khalifa of drop.
That's not how
I'm
it
just
works,
talking
Ross.
about an average of how much it must drop per minute to travel at 600 miles per hour, and that is actually 1.5 Burj Khalifas a minute of drop that you must be following.
It's not
and you know
drop.
you know you don't do it because the Earth doesn't curve.
It's not drop, Ross. As the airplane follows the curvature of the Earth, the drop is actually encompassed in the forward flight of the airplane. I can show you 1,000,000 times. Put a smaller scale on this. This red arrow is not drop as the airplane follows the curvature of the Earth. It actually becomes forward flight. Do you understand that? And it doesn't matter.
This is the
worst.
If we follow Occam's razor, then the explanation with the least number of assumptions must be the correct one. It is staying level and stationary to the Earth because it's dropping as much as it's given enough pitch over that period of time without going over curvature.
We follow the curve. Do you agree that on a curve, if I stay a given height above this curve, above that curve that I'm following the curvature, if I stay 35,000 feet above the Earth's surface and the Earth's surface curves, and I stay 35,000 feet above it, do you agree that I am following the Earth's curvature? Yes or no?
If you're dropping that much per minute, yes, you would be staying level to it.
How many times do I have to tell you, Ross? It's not a drop. That's what I
put on my board. The maths doesn't lie. People who are deluded in beliefs of things that don't exist, they lie because they're trying to compensate for the fact.
Do you believe I'm lying, Ross? Do you honestly believe I'm lying about this?
You're not lying about this. You're just being disingenuous because you don't understand the amount of curvature that should exist on the fantasy ball that you think you live on, whereas you actually behave as though the Earth is actually flat and stationary. Have you ever accounted for the 1,000-mile-per-hour spin beneath you? Ever once?
No, you don't have to. Well, yes. Well, let me put it this way. Yes, Ross, we do. Do you know how we compensate for it?
No.
By compensating for lateral winds.
Lateral winds got nothing to do with the spin of the ground beneath you.
Absolutely. The
spin of the ground beneath you, 1 1/3 times the speed of sound. How do you compensate for that and how it changes at different latitudes?
Because the rotation of the Earth changes the way the atmosphere reacts, and it creates winds.
No.
Are you familiar? You're familiar with
the atmosphere spins with you, so you forget the winds.
No, the atmosphere. The atmosphere is. Let me show you another picture, Ross. The atmosphere absolutely is influenced by the rotation of the Earth. That's why jet streams are formed. Now you said I've read
200 to 300 miles per hour faster than the Earth spins when we get to the southern latitudes. How is that possible?
That's not the way it works, Ross. That's not the way it works. Here, let me show you this.
You think I haven't done my research?
Do you see this diagram here? Do you see that diagram?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the way the winds are affected. That's what creates jet streams. You can see here that the equator is actually hot, right? You would agree that the equator is more warm than the North or South poles. Do you agree with that?
On average, yes, because that's our average path of the sun most of the year.
Great.
So the tropics. Yeah.
So the heat around the equator rises. And then as it hits the upper atmosphere, it spreads out laterally and it actually starts to sink by the poles. Do you agree that cold air sinks, Ross?
Yeah, but I don't see why it suddenly goes towards the poles to do so.
Well, because it's colder up there. We have local weather systems here that show the same phenomenon. When you have heat that rises, something has to come in and fill the vacuum of that heat rising. So the air comes laterally on the surface. And then
what are you talking about?
It's not, no, I don't want to. When I say vacuum, I'm not talking like a vacuum cleaner. I'm talking about the fact that as the air rises, so you agree that hot air rises, correct?
Yeah, and cold air.
So what comes in? So what comes in to fill that
cold
void?
Air.
Colder air. Correct. Where's that colder? Colder air. Fine. If you want, that's fine. Cold air comes in. Well, the air rises. Something needs to fill the void of that air rising. So cold air comes in and it sets up a conveyor belt from the poles to the equator. And then because the Earth is rotating and the Coriolis effect affects the winds, that's why you get jet streams. Now, as pilots,
the Coriolis effect doesn't affect how you fly a plane. You don't have to
of course
account
it
for
does.
the Earth moving beneath you.
No, of course the Coriolis effect is what
But it
creates the
affects the
jet
wind,
stream.
but not a plane.
Ross, please don't talk over me.
I'm not talking over you, mate. I'm just trying to have a word in.
Yeah, let's just try to let each person finish their thought completely before we give our opinion and or question.
Coriolis effect affects the winds, and we compensate for the winds, whether it's on the side of the airplane, whether it's a tailwind, a headwind, wherever. We have to compensate for the winds. And because we compensate for the winds, that means that we're compensating for the effect of the rotation of the Earth on the winds, on the atmosphere, I should say.
So you only compensate for the winds, but you don't give a damn about the Earth itself rotating 1 1/3 times the speed of sound at the equator. You can fly east or west, irrespective of the winds, and you don't give a damn about the speed of the Earth itself spinning beneath you. That's
no, because no, it's not strange. Because have you ever stood by a no? Wait, look, Ross, I'll explain. Have you ever stood by a train as it's moving by you really fast?
Yeah.
Does it create wind?
Yeah.
Okay. So the wind is being pulled along by the moving train, correct?
I'd say it's been expelled by the train.
It's not being expelled by it. It moves with it. When you're standing next to a train, the wind is moving with the train.
It can suck some air in underneath it and pull
no,
you into it.
We're talking as the train moves by you, there's wind that is moving with the train.
Okay, well,
you can see it. Look at trains in India. They bring up all the trash, and all the trash flows with the train. So
okay,
the
train. I'm curious to see where you're going with this. So how does this apply to a plane flying on a spinning space?
No, what it applies to is the fact that the Earth spinning rotates the atmosphere with it. So, but it also creates winds. So by compensating for the winds,
which is it? One or the other? Make up your mind.
What do you mean? The atmosphere rotates with the Earth.
It's either moving the wind with it, so it appears to be stationary, so it doesn't seem to move, or it's creating winds which can go any and every direction.
It's both, Ross. Yeah, it's both, because the atmosphere rotates with the Earth, but the rotation of the Earth also affects the winds as they travel north-south due to the Coriolis effect. Why do the winds travel north-south? Because the equator is hot and the poles are cold. Well, then they would if the Earth was not rotating. They would go directly north-south. But because the Earth is rotating, Ross, please let me finish. Will you please let me finish? Because the Earth is rotating, the winds actually start to curve east-west. And that's why most of our jet streams are east-west. Now, sometimes the jet streams actually do go north-south. I mean, there's a million different factors that go into which way the direction of the winds go. One of the major factors is the Coriolis effect. I'll let you counter that.
So the spin of the Earth has absolutely nothing to do with the direction of the winds. The winds can go whichever direction they want to go. They can go east to west. They can go north to south. They can go west to east. Most of the trade winds actually go from west to east, which is with the spin of the Earth, which is the opposite of what you've said. Nothing of what you've said has anything to do with the way the winds are observably going in any direction they so choose, because the Earth itself is obviously not moving. And if it was moving, that train that you're talking about, it's barely going, 60 miles an hour when it goes through a station? And you're talking about an Earth rotating 1,000 miles per hour. 1,000
you agree that
is faster than the speed of sound.
Do you agree that speed is relative?
Hold on, one second.
Just to be standing still.
Do
you agree that
should be breaking the sound barrier just to be standing still in respect to the motion of the Earth?
Are you done?
And yet when we see hurricane force winds, sorry, I just want to finish this one real quick. When they see hurricane force winds going about 150 to 200 miles per hour, they apparently are going 1/5 to 1/6 of the speed of stationary perfectly still air that's moving with the Earth. Insanity.
What? Why is that insanity, Ross? I don't understand. The atmosphere rotates with the Earth due to friction. The atmosphere rotates with the Earth due to friction, just like wind moves with a train because of the train's friction. The atmosphere moves with the Earth. However, there are other factors that affect winds, like temperature and pressure differences. When those happen, the rotation of the Earth and the Coriolis effect also affect the winds in that way. So you have winds that are all over the place, Ross. You're correct. They blow north, south, east, west. They blow fast. They blow slow. They even go vertical, Ross.
So explain, Carl, why we can have a perfectly still day with no wind whatsoever, mirror perfect reflection surface on the water.
Well, sometimes the forces cancel each other out and you have zero wind.
Sometimes the forces cancel each other out and we have zero wind.
You have zero wind.
Perfectly still, mirror perfect reflection on the surface of a lake because they cancelled each other out, even though we're going 1 1/3 times the speed of sound.
I don't know what to tell you, Ross. It's
Our
true.
orbital speed is 10 times faster than an electromagnetic railgun projectile.
All right, so we'll get into that. I will get into that with you here in a minute. All right, I will get into how speed is relative here in a minute. But yes, Ross, the winds are affected not only by the rotation of the Earth, where the friction of the Earth is moving the atmosphere with it, but the winds are also affected by the Coriolis effect because those winds travel north, south, or east, west, or wherever. The rotation of the Earth affects the winds and curves them in different directions. I showed you the model. You can go to the website and you can learn all about meteorology. It's all right here. I studied this for 3 years, Ross, in university.
Well,
so you can argue with me all you want.
I know a little bit more about it than you do.
No, Ross, you don't. I studied.
I actually do.
No, you don't. Let me ask you this, Ross. When we're talking about atmosphere, do you agree that there's a pressure gradient?
Of course there is. Yeah.
What does it go down to?
Down to?
Yeah. What is the lowest pressure as we rise in altitude, and the pressure gets less and less and less? I'm sorry?
So you go up to go down?
No. As you go up in altitude, the pressure drops. Do you agree?
Yeah, that's right, because there's less air above you, and air itself has mass. Every single molecule of gas has mass.
Great.
And when you get
so what does the pressure decrease to?
Molecules above you, you have less and less pressing down on you, and that's what we measure as less pressure. And that can only exist on the stationary planar Earth.
No, it's
at the base of the universe. Because if we were hurtling at those ridiculous speeds you believe in through a vacuum of space, we would lose every single minuscule bit of that pressure.
We'll get there. I'll get there. I'll get to relative speed here in a minute. What does the pressure decrease to as you rise in altitude?
Just less and less, from my experience.
To what? If it's less and less, do you think it can decrease to zero?
External pressure will explode,
do you think the pressure can decrease? Do you think the pressure can decrease to zero?
No.
So you're saying that as we rise in altitude, at some altitude, the pressure stays at a constant rate no matter what altitude you climb to?
I believe there's no such thing as a perfect vacuum.
Okay, so give me a number of any source you want. What is the pressure that the atmosphere stabilizes at, and at what altitude is that?
I would say at around 65,000 feet. Our atmosphere reaches sufficient density where there is no longer atmospheric gases which will fluoresce to create daylight, and that's why the sky goes from blue to black. And
give me a source for 65,000 feet, Ross. Give me a source for 65,000 feet.
I've seen plenty of high altitude pilots fly about that, and they say, "Oh, we've reached the edge of space because the sky goes from blue."
And what is the pressure at 65,000 feet, Ross?
I don't know. I'd probably say
so. Could it be close to zero?
In the medium of air, and then you've become in a place where there is no medium of air.
Could it be close to zero at 65,000 feet?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, let's call it zero.
Great, good. All right, good. Well, it actually does decrease to zero, Ross. It decreases to zero.
What?
There is an altitude where there's no more air. It decreases to zero.
So how does a helium balloon, when we send them up to 128,000 feet, not burst until it reaches about that height?
There's still a little bit of air. There's still a little bit of air that high. The question you should be asking, the question you should be asking is, why can't a balloon go up to 85 miles?
So it's not zero, is what you're saying?
No, it gets to zero, but it's 120,000 feet. It actually, if you look at it, if you look at the pressure gradient curve, it's actually becomes, it close to the surface, it decreases at a much higher rate. So like half the atmosphere is like 18,000 feet. At 18,000 feet, you've lost half the atmosphere. And then as you get higher and higher in the atmosphere, it decreases at a much slower rate. So even at 125,000 feet, you're still going to have just a touch of atmosphere. But the question you should be asking, Ross, is why can't a helium balloon go to 500,000 feet?
Because it reaches its limit at that particular
What
point.
causes it to reach the limit?
The lack of external pressure.
That's correct, and it goes to zero.
Near enough. Yeah, that's fine by me.
Fair,
No
all right,
problem with
good.
that.
All right,
That
all
works
right,
for me
great.
on a
That works
stationary
for
planar Earth, but it doesn't work for me on a spinning space ball hurtling through a vacuum of space at phenomenal speeds.
Okay, well, let's get to speed is relative, because I want, now look, heliocentrism is not my forte. All right, I'm not. Ross, don't be friggin' rude.
Heliocentrism.
Don't be rude. All right, let's talk about it. All right. Have you ever had someone sleeping in your car, Ross?
Not since I was a teenager.
All right. How slow of an acceleration do you have to make in order for someone not to feel acceleration? Let's say you're accelerating to 66 miles an hour. How slow of an acceleration?
Are you talking about inside a pressurized capsule, or
no? I'm talking about just in your car. I'm talking about in your car. In your car.
Pressurized capsule. It's got a windscreen.
Okay.
Let's talk about, say, in the open air on a motorbike.
Let's answer my question, Ross. Let's stick to acceleration and feeling acceleration. Okay. How slow of an acceleration do you have to have in your car to make it where someone that's sleeping wouldn't feel it? Do you think 66 miles an hour in a minute?
Am I going to strap them to?
Are they going to wake up
behind the windscreen?
Are they going to, Ross, just in a car, fine, behind a windscreen? Do you think if you accelerate to 66 miles an hour in a minute, are you going to wake them up?
Probably not. No.
All right, well, let's go with 10 minutes. Do you think if you accelerated to 66 miles an hour in 10 minutes, are they going to wake up? Would they even feel it?
I don't see where you're going with this, because
well, you will in a minute. You will in a minute.
Where is the
is someone going to Ross? Just answer the question. Answer this question. If you accelerate to 66 miles an hour in 10 minutes, is anyone in your car going to feel it?
Can you tell me the relevance of this to the argument that
I will get, just answer the question. 10 minutes to get to 66 miles an hour. Are they going to feel it?
So you have no point. You're just making up ridiculous.
No, Ross. The point will be very, very clear.
Through a vacuum of space at 66,600 miles per hour.
Ross, you can't answer the question. Will someone feel an acceleration to 66 miles an hour over a 10-minute period? Yes or no?
If you're on a spinning space ball going
in a car.
Hours,
in a car.
Is
someone going to feel? All right, the answer is no, Ross. Someone can accelerate.
Okay,
all right. So let's 10 times. Let's 10 times it. Let's 10 times it. Let's accelerate to 660 miles an hour in 100 minutes. It's the same rate of acceleration. Are you going to feel that? Are you going to feel that, Ross?
Why? What's the point?
I'll tell you. Well, let's times that times 10.
Yeah, let's fast forward a little bit.
All right. No, let's times that times 10, Ross. 6,600 miles an hour in 100 minutes. 100 minutes. Are you going to feel that?
Yep.
6,000. You're not going to. It's the same rate of acceleration. 10 minutes to 66 miles an hour is the same as 100 minutes to 6,600 miles an hour. So my point is, Ross, is that my point is that you can accelerate to 66,000 miles an hour in 10,000 minutes, and you're not going to feel it, Ross. You can accelerate to 66,000 miles an hour, decelerate to 66,000 miles an hour, accelerate again, and decelerate. It takes 40 days to do that. But the Earth does it in a year, Ross. It accelerates to 60.
We are going 66,600 miles per hour all the time, but because we're on the outside surface of a ball with a 4,000 mile radius, that means that half of the ball is going backwards relative to that, and the other half is going forwards with it.
No, it's not.
Every moment of every day,
it's not going
about Mach 3 between midday and midnight in order to be not accelerating because we don't feel speed.
No, Ross. All you're doing is adding the rotation of the Earth and subtracting the rotation of the Earth. So at 66 miles an hour, the part of the Earth that's rotating, say, forward, it's going 66,001 or 67,000 miles an hour. The part of the Earth that's rotating backwards is going 65,000 miles an hour. So it's only 1,000 miles an hour difference.
Mach 3 difference every 12 hours.
Well, okay. Do you think you're going to feel that acceleration, Ross?
Yes.
Mach 3 in 12 hours?
The sort of speed that trained fighter pilots will pass out at. And we're doing it every 12 hours. You say we don't only feel acceleration, but we don't feel any acceleration of the Earth. And those are just the two slower speeds of your heliocentric model that you refuse to even investigate.
So Mach 2 is how fast?
It's about
let's just say it's 2,000 miles an hour. Let's say it's 2,000 miles an hour. If I accelerate you to 2,000 miles an hour over 5 hours, would you feel that, Ross?
It depends.
No, you wouldn't feel it.
If I was sitting on the wing, I'd definitely feel it.
You wouldn't
feel it.
No, you wouldn't feel it. You would not feel going Mach 2 if I accelerate you. You wouldn't feel anything. You wouldn't feel the acceleration to Mach 2 over 5 hours.
You're so brainwashed with thinking that we live inside of an enclosed capsule the whole time. The Earth is not inside an enclosed capsule. It is open air to the vacuum of space.
Oh, so it's open to the vacuum of space, right?
Accordingly.
What force, Ross? What force would you feel in the vacuum of space going 66,000 miles an hour?
Exactly.
You wouldn't feel any force, Ross. You wouldn't feel any force. There's no force out there because it's a vacuum of space.
Space ball going 1 1/3 times the speed of sound, sometimes with it, sometimes against it.
And the acceleration rate is so slow. It's slower than accelerating to 66 miles an hour in 10 minutes.
But
and you said you wouldn't feel that.
There's no windshield. There's nothing to protect us.
And in the vacuum of space, there's no force to resist
our
it.
Atmosphere.
No, you wouldn't. There's no force. There's no force to shear the atmosphere off, Ross.
There's a vacuum there's a universal sized vacuum, man.
And what force is in a vacuum? What force would shear the atmosphere off at 66,000 miles an hour?
Pressure equalization.
There's no pressure, Ross. You already said that the pressure is zero.
In a tiny chamber with hard, solid walls, the minute you open up the valve, the atmosphere rushes in to fill the void. So if we're in a void the size of the universe, our atmosphere is going to rush off in a nanosecond if we don't have some sort of protective shell, which according to the globe Earth belief, we don't have.
No, you don't need a protective shell. What do you mean you need a protective shell? You said that there's a pressure gradient. There's a pressure gradient. There's no protective
chamber here on Earth without a protective shell.
We're not talking about on Earth. We're talking about as you rise in the atmosphere. No, we're not. As you rise in the atmosphere, Ross.
It's Earth.
No.
Our subject is Earth.
Sorry, I was just going to say we got about 22 minutes left. If you guys want, we could do a 2-minute back and forth if you feel like you're not getting your points out. For the last 15 minutes, or if you guys are good, I'll keep it going.
I actually think I made my points.
Okay.
I actually think Ross made the points for me.
Well, then you guys want to move on to a different topic on this prompt?
No, I mean, we've talked about acceleration to 66,000 miles an hour. Let's also talk about turn rate, Ross. So how long does it take for the Earth to, so it's 360 degrees in an orbit, correct?
It's 360 degrees in one axial rotation. And
no, I'm talking about orbit around the sun. Let's talk about heliocentric.
Yeah, okay. So 1 degree around the sun 93 million miles away means every day we travel 1,600,000 miles. And you think we do that every day without experiencing it? That's 1 degree. That's not even a degree.
Okay, well, let's talk about turn rate.
To make 1 degree
because turn rate has to do, we've agreed that you don't feel constant speed. You don't feel constant speed, and you don't feel slow acceleration.
Yeah. So
now let's talk. So let's talk about
we travel 1,600,000 miles while we are spinning on our axis 25,000 miles. That is what creates the Mach 3 difference every 12 hours that we should be experiencing.
But okay, so Mach 3 every 12 hours, Ross. I can accelerate to Mach 3 in 3 hours, and you wouldn't feel it. I can then decelerate. I can decelerate over 3 hours, and you wouldn't feel it.
Okay, but
do you agree with that?
You still have to have a pressurized enclosed capsule, don't you, to do that? You can't
not in the vacuum of space. There's not, if you're in the vacuum of space.
Exactly.
You don't, well, yeah. Well, the Earth moves through the vacuum of space.
Yeah, exactly. So you just said it's not possible. Thank you.
Well, if you don't believe in the vacuum of space, do you believe space is a vacuum, Ross? I thought I heard you. I thought I heard you say.
And realize that the stationary planar Earth is the only physical realm fixed at the base of the universe, and we're not hurtling through a vacuum of space, then you don't need to believe in that such nonsense. No, but when you are believing in such nonsense, then it becomes
there's a lot of proof that we
still cling to as a grown adult.
No, there's a lot of proof. There's a lot of proof
and fly up to Mach 3 and back in several hours.
Well, there's a lot of proof that we rotate around
an enclosed capsule.
Well, there's a lot of proof that we actually do orbit the sun. All right, and that's fine. I have no,
show me one of these proofs. Which one?
Well, the fact that we don't see, you know that we don't see the same stars every year. Do you know why? Throughout the year.
Every year.
Do you know why we have zodiac signs?
All year round.
Do you know why we have zodiac signs? Because certain constellations show up at different months. Why does that happen? Because when we're looking through the sun, when it's daytime, like today, and I'm looking at the sun, I can't see the stars behind it. That's why I can't see the same constellations in December that I can in July, because they're hidden by the sun. They are behind the sun. As we rotate and orbit the sun, those constellations that are behind the sun are no longer behind the sun, and they become visible. So the stars actually change looking through the sun. Now, when we look straight up,
story, Carl. It's a cool story. But on the stationary planar Earth, what happens is that the stars themselves are rotating around in sidereal time, which is 4 minutes per day faster than the sun, which is why every 12th of the year, the sun appears to rise in a different sign of the zodiac. And that works perfectly well for our stationary planar Earth. If we're spinning and hurling through space around the sun, you'd have to assume all the stars are also going around the sun, which is the most ridiculous belief possible.
They don't all go around the sun
at all.
The stars don't go around the sun.
The sun is hurtling through the galaxy. It should be
completely
different.
The stars don't go around the sun, Ross.
A different parallax of every constellation every night. The parallax of every star should be different. And here in the southern
that's not true.
I can look exactly due south every night of the year, and I will see the Southern Cross in exactly the same position.
That's correct, because you're looking south. You're not looking east or west towards the sun.
Well, I'm actually looking up. I'm facing south, but I'm not looking outwards. I'm looking upwards.
So
I'm seeing the exact same constellations all year round. And I just won another bet with another heliotard just recently who said I could not see Orion's belt all year round, and I documented it all year round.
Yeah,
I can see Orion's belt.
That's fine.
And that means I am not going around the sun looking at completely different stars.
That's not true.
6 months later.
There are stars that you can't see every month of the year. There are. There's constellations that you cannot see. Now, do you know what the plane of the ecliptic is? So the plane of the ecliptic. So let me draw it real quick. So, I mean, this isn't to scale, obviously, but if you have the sun and the earth, right? So if you have stars over here, we can't see them. But if you're here looking this way, these stars that you see here, you'll see those all year round. But you can't see stars this way because it's daytime.
How are you seeing out your ass the other side of the planet?
What do you mean?
Well, you're saying you're seeing this way and that way.
You're seeing,
You're either
so
seeing
you're
that way.
You're here. So you said you look up or down or whatever you said.
Yeah.
You said you look up. So for you, it'd actually be like this. So you're here looking up. So the stars you see here, you'll be able to see those year round as you orbit. You're looking up here, over here, you're looking up.
But
it's
I'm
the same
supposed to be on
stars.
the other side of the sun at nighttime looking the other way, 180 degrees, the complete opposite direction.
No,
I'm
you
not
don't.
just looking out my ass all the time.
These,
on the
all
other
these,
side of the sun, looking
You're
the
here.
other direction.
No, you're here, Ross. You're here looking this way. You're here looking this way. These stars up here, you're going to see all year round. The ones you can't see are the ones, if you're here, you can't see the ones over here. When you're here, you can't see the ones over here.
That's only 28 degrees south of the equator. I'm on the other side of the sun, looking 180 degrees the other way. Why am I saying?
Well, at some point. Well, no, at some point. So if you're here, so your daytime's here.
I can't.
So you won't see the stars during the day. When you're on the night side and you look up, you'll see the stars. You're hidden from the sun here. This is night. This is day. So you're looking up. You won't see the stars. Over here, when it's night, when the Earth rotates, you're looking up. You'll see those stars, and you'll see them here, and you'll see them here, all year round.
You don't understand your own model.
That's
you're
fine.
Not even
one other thing I want to talk about. Can we change subjects?
Yeah,
sure.
We got about 15 minutes left.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's
we'll
change
go
subjects.
into the Q&A.
So look on the map behind you, Ross. You see the map behind you?
Yeah, I'm very familiar.
That's first of all, is that Gleason's map?
That is a Gleason's projection, yeah.
Point to Australia. Where's Australia?
That's that big island up there.
Is that what it looks like?
I don't know. I've never really seen it from space, but
well, you know, how wide is it from east to west? Australia.
I'm not sure. I haven't measured.
2,400 miles.
2,400.
Yeah. Do you know how do you not know the dimensions of your own country?
Because
does Australia? Have you ever seen this? Have you ever seen that picture of Australia?
Yeah.
Do you think that's what it looks like?
All sorts of images.
Do you
but
think?
I have no way of proving one way or another for myself.
Do you think that Australia looks like that, or does Australia look like a sausage?
Oh, I'm undecided.
Well, it looks like this, Ross. I think every single viewer would say that Australia looks like this, and you can prove it with this.
Because they've been brainwashed with the same images through the same.
It's not brainwashing, Ross. Your country
experience since childhood.
No.
So yeah,
it's not brainwashing. It's distance.
It is.
Your country.
It absolutely is.
No, your country is 2,400 miles east to west. It is also 2,400 miles north to south.
So it's between Melbourne and Darwin. And if you look at it in that way, if you switch it around, it actually works that way.
Ross, it is
it's
measured
not taken from the
to be
Great
this.
Australian
It's not.
Divide
This
up
isn't
to
a
the top of Darwin.
This isn't a picture. It's measured to be this.
No, it's a
when someone
cardboard
drives around Australia, this is what it draws. It doesn't look like that on your map up there. Let's talk about distance on your map up there. If you were to fly between Australia and South America, would you have to go north on that map?
In many instances, they actually do. The actual flights do.
Not from Australia. Only if you have a stopover.
Yeah.
Like if you have a hub and spoke system. Like if you were to fly from Australia on United Airlines, well, they're going to stop in Chicago because that's their hub. And then they're going to go, then there'll be another flight that you catch in Chicago to go to South America. But there are direct flights from Australia to South America.
Yeah.
So if you have a direct flight from Australia to South America, does that flight go north according to that map?
Not necessarily, no. Sort of goes northeast a bit because.
Well, what's the closest? You would agree that a direct flight would take.
If you're going to follow a straight line anywhere on the flat Earth, you're going to go somewhat northeast. no matter what. If you go
Okay,
south,
well,
you're going to go out. You're going the wrong direction.
Okay,
Unless you're
well,
going directly north-south.
well, flights, and I've done them. Flights from Australia to South America do not go north. They go southeast.
You've actually flown from Sydney to
I've flown
Santiago.
all over the world. I have flown everywhere, Ross. I've flown to every
Have you
continent,
flown from
everywhere.
Sydney to Santiago, Chile?
Well, no, I've flown to Australia from many different places, but it doesn't matter.
That's not a problem. That's not a problem. But you've never flown from Sydney to Santiago.
To Santiago, Chile.
Santiago.
No, but I've flown all over Africa. I've flown to
I hear
Australia
people,
numerous times. But it doesn't matter, Ross. The point is that the flights that go from Australia direct to South America do not go north. They go southeast.
Okay, so I get into arguments all the time with globetards on Facebook and other social platforms who always bring up the flight between Sydney and Santiago.
We don't have to use that one. We can use anyone you want. We can use Auckland.
Every single one of you.
No,
you
well,
always bring up the same things, but none of you have ever actually done it yourselves every single time.
I have flown all around.
That I've done it either because I haven't, but I do know something personally because when my mother went to South America, when she came back, she was very disappointed that the flight took about 36 hours or something because they had to go via North America before they could come back to Australia.
Did they stop in North America? Did they stop in North America?
Yeah. They all
of course they did.
LA
That's a hub and spoke system. That's a hub and spoke system.
Yeah.
That's a hub and spoke system. It's not a direct flight. A direct flight from Australia to South America will not go north. A direct flight, and I'm not. And let's. I'm sorry.
That's my point. They very rarely ever exist. 99 times out of 100 they get cancelled, and on the 1% chance they do get allowed to happen, they go from Sydney to San Diego because they follow the jet streams, which are 200 to 300 miles per hour.
I'm not
boost over the period of time. Which
I'm not talking about flight times.
About 7,500 miles, and they get there in about 14 to 15 hours.
I'm not talking about flight times, Ross.
No, they don't go north.
Ross, I'm not talking about flight times. I'm talking about distance. Flight times are variable. Flight times are variable on many different factors. I'm not talking about flight times. I'm talking about distance.
Can you tell me then how do you measure distance in a plane?
Oh, there's multiple. Which method would you like?
I just like the most commonly used one. How do you measure distance?
We actually on the 777. I'll tell you, on the 777 we have three main ways that we do it. One is something called ring laser gyroscopes, and they have accelerometers. So what it does is the airplane accelerates. Based on that acceleration, the system knows how fast the airplane's going. It also knows the direction. So based on that amount of acceleration for so long, it calculates the speed and it knows the direction. So then it knows its new position. So that's one way. The second way that we do it is radio transmitters from the ground. So what you do is you take a signal and you bounce it off a radio signal. So the radio waves travel at the speed of light. So when you have a radio signal goes out and bounces off something like a radar, but it's a little bit different with actual transmitters. So you have the radar, you have the radio signal, it goes out, it comes back. The airplane can measure how long it took for that signal to go out and come back. So then it can calculate the distance. Then we have another way, Ross, GPS. GPS triangulates satellites in space, and it does that by sending a signal out to the satellite, which knows its position because the satellite is using ground stations to know its position. So then our signal from the airplane goes to the satellite, comes back, and based on the time it takes that to happen, the airplane knows its position. All three of those messages, Ross, get compiled in what's called sensor fusion. And then the airplane generates what it calls it's actually called performance-based navigation. And it calculates the actual navigation performance, how tight the system actually is. And the system is usually as tight as 0.03 of a nautical mile. That's 150 feet. 150 feet. The airplane knows its position within that amount. So yes, it measures its distance in multiple different ways.
Well, I would say that those last two were both GPS because it is.
No, they're not both GPS. They're not.
And you ring laser gyro one. Yeah. dubious about that too.
We don't eliminate the gyro one. All three need to agree.
Been pre-programmed into it to give you the expectations you imagine that you've already.
Well, then, okay. So say you're right. Say it is an expectation, and then we actually get there in the distance that we're supposed to. Then the expectation is verified, and that's verified on every flight.
Okay, and do those distances match the globe?
Absolutely, they all do. They all do. And this is why, Ross, because on a globe, you can see that the lines of longitude, they converge at the South Pole. On your map up there, the lines of longitude diverge constantly towards an ice wall. Only one can be correct. And the distances...
Well, I believe they do converge, but see, what you're really doing is you're going from there to there. You're not going to there. So
yeah, well, Ross, the heading from
it still works out at 7,500 miles per.
No, the flight,
which can be done in about
Ross,
14 to 15 hours.
The flight routes do not. The flight routes and distance do not match that map above your head. We do not go. No, they don't. We do not go from Australia. We don't go.
There are actually thousands of other examples which I'd prefer to bring up. Obviously,
okay,
I can't
Johannesburg to
I'm
Auckland.
using my screen.
Johannesburg to Auckland. Look on that map. Fly me from Johannesburg to Auckland.
The Northern Hemisphere flights, like there's dozens and dozens and dozens.
Ross, I agree.
So
Northern Hemisphere.
New York to Dublin, and you go across Greenland.
Absolutely,
it matches this map 100%.
I agree, Ross. In fact,
that map this.
I agree.
This map.
I agree. In the Northern Hemisphere, they do.
On the globe.
No, they do work on the globe. In the Northern Hemisphere. No, on the Northern Hemisphere, Ross, one of the maps we used to do was called a polar, what was it called? A polar, polar projection. A polar projection where it actually looked very similar to the inner circle of that Gleason's map. So in the Northern Hemisphere, and you're right, like when I used to fly from Hong Kong to Los Angeles, that flight actually goes north, close to the North Pole. Yeah. From Dubai here in Dubai, when I go to Los Angeles, we fly right over the North Pole. So in the in the Northern Hemisphere, that map behind you actually works pretty good.
I know.
It's
actually
the
use
Southern
the Scandinavian
Hemisphere.
Airlines flight routes map quite often.
It's the Southern Hemisphere. It's the Southern Hemisphere
because they fly straight lines.
In the Southern Hemisphere,
is all skewed because, as we know, it goes pear-shaped below the equator because it turns into more of a dartboard world than it does into the spinning.
All right,
it's very simple.
Carl, go ahead and say what you were going to say, and then I'll give Ross one more chance to respond, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap the open dialogue.
Well, it's very simple to that's fine. It's very simple to understand, Ross. So in the Northern Hemisphere up here, the lines of longitude, they do diverge to the equator. Just like your Gleason's map. In the Southern Hemisphere, the lines of longitude on the globe Earth, on the real Earth, reconverge at the South Pole. On your map, they continue to diverge from the equator to the ice wall, which doesn't exist. And only one can be correct. And the distances alone, look up any distance you want. Johannesburg to Auckland, Sydney to Rio. Pick any of the Southern Hemisphere, like the tips, like Cape Town to Melbourne. Pick any of those distances, Ross, and they're impossible. You show me how you calculate a distance on that map behind your head. Give me a distance between Johannesburg and Auckland on that map behind your head. I'll wait.
Okay, well, I will agree to disagree because I believe that those distances are true and accurate. And nearly all of those flights, say between Johannesburg and Australia, they will stop in somewhere like Dubai. Or
no, they don't.
On the way through.
No, they don't. There's direct flights. No, Air New Zealand has direct flights from Cape Town or Johannesburg to Auckland, and they don't go north.
And there you go.
They don't go north, Ross. They don't go north, and that distance is not correct.
Right in the middle.
No, they don't. Air New Zealand does not fly here to Dubai. Air New Zealand does have a flight from Johannesburg in Africa to Auckland. And it does not go north. Give me the distance. Just look at that map behind you and give me a distance.
East to west.
Just one. Just calculate one distance using that map behind you. Johannesburg to Auckland. Do it. Go ahead.
New Zealand to Sydney. It took
Give
over
me-
4 hours for me to go from
Give
Auckland
me
to Sydney.
a distance using that map, Ross.
4 hours at 600 miles an hour. That would be
We're not talking time. We're talking
2,400
distance.
miles.
We're talking distance.
Time
Bottom
is
line,
distance
Ross, and
when
this
it
is the
comes to
last
flight.
thing I'm going to say. This is it. The
Time is
distances
distance when
on
it
the
comes to flight.
distances, the
world is
distances.
much
Hold on,
bigger
Ross.
than
Hold
you
on.
think.
Hold on. Let him.
This is the
I was
last
going to say,
thing I'm
then you
gonna
could say what you said.
This is the last thing I'm going to say. The distances on this map, on this globe, work. The distances on that map do not work. You can't even give me one. You can't give me one accurate distance off that map. Johannesburg to Auckland, you can't give it to me. I'm done.
And yet you didn't give me a distance either. So
Oh, I'll
I'm
give you
done
one.
as
You
well.
want one?
because,
You want
because
one?
I
I'll
say
give
that flight distance per time, and with the trade winds that we have or the jet streams that we have, that calculates how long the actual flight takes. I don't care about your piece of string.
No.
Go ahead.
Ross, we're talking
go ahead.
distance. We're not talking flight times. We're talking distance only. Flight times are variable. Distances are not variable. I'll give you a distance. This string is 10,000 miles. I can give you a distance anywhere on this globe using this string. If he wants to give me one, if he wants to give me 2 cities, I'll give him a distance. But he can't do it on his map. I'm done.
All right, Ross, where'd you go?
Let's see. Did I use all my props? I used my airplane. I used my globe. My whiteboard's a mess.
All right. Well, I guess we're gonna wrap up the open dialogue section. I'm gonna let you guys know real quick before we get into the audience Q&A. We have a sponsor for the live streams for the next couple weeks. That's going to be Farm Easy Bank. They will get you your prescriptions of whatever kind that you typically get at better prices, delivered straight to your doors very discreetly. So pretty much all discounted prescription drugs, including ivermectin, fenbendazole, Fildina, and other ED products, and weight loss products, including oral semaglutide. And Farm Easy Bank uses fast, secure shipping directly to your doorstep, and James can vouch for it as he's used Farm Easy Bank himself for top-tier discounts. Those are his words. You guys can get the QR code up there, scan on your phone, get 20% off of any of those items that you might need or want or have heard of that you've been wanting to try. But big thanks to Farm Easy Bank for sponsoring the live debates. Those guys, I think for the next couple weeks, will be helping us out leading up to and after DebateCon. So big thanks and shout out. And now I'm pulling up the super chats. Moment.
Man. Sorry about the sun. It became sunrise here.
Hey, Carl, do you have a echo or a audio coming out of... Oh, it went away. Never mind. Cool. No worries. All right. First super chat here is from IC Spin. Said subscribe to Max Yerba Mate Talks. I said shameless self-plug, but I'll allow it because Max is a mod. Jack Feder for 5 says Iron Horse looks nice with the clean-cut looking suit, but then he opens his mouth and the 1400s drops out. Hashtag born in the wrong century. You got a rebuttal to that, Ross?
He got me. Yeah, definitely born in the wrong century.
Fair enough. Okay. Next up, we got another... Or no, wait. There was one in between. 1 second. LJ69 says, we still can't go see rockets land on Earth in person. Think that'd be more directed at you, Carl.
Why can't we go see rockets land on Earth? We do. Russia lands their rockets in the desert.
I think I've seen in the comments a lot of people saying it's a national security thing.
How something falling towards the Earth, if the Earth is spinning 1/3 times the speed of sound, and it's also orbiting the sun at like 88 times the speed of sound. How does something fall straight down and yet
Doesn't.
just fall straight down?
It doesn't fall straight down.
For any of those speeds.
It doesn't fall straight down, Ross.
So it's coming really diagonal, like 30 times faster diagonal.
No, usually about 6 degrees.
Illusion of falling straight down.
Usually the cone is about a 6-degree cone. But a 6-degree cone gives it enough atmosphere where it slows it down at about 3 Gs. And then as it slows down, it actually starts to arc down towards the Earth. And then as it arcs and slows down, then they shoot off the drogue parachutes, which slows it down even more. Then after the drogue parachutes slow it down, then they release the main parachutes. That's the way it works.
And so
we can have a great debate, Ross. I'm totally willing to do this again. We can have a great debate about rocketry. I also know a lot about rocketry.
I'd just like to extrapolate that to say somebody jumping, say, from an aeroplane as a skydiver. How do they account for taking the speed of the Earth with them when they leave the speed of the aeroplane? All of a sudden, they're not going the speed of the aeroplane, but they seem to be dropping straight down. Are they still also dropping 30 times sideways in order to create the illusion of dropping straight down?
What do you mean, Ross? As I said, the atmosphere is being pulled along with the Earth, just like the wind is being pulled along with a train. So because the atmosphere is being pulled along with the Earth,
airplanes go in the opposite direction of the speed of the Earth. Say it's flying towards the west.
It doesn't.
From the airplane that way.
That's irrelevant.
How do they know to still go 1/3 times the speed of sound towards the east?
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
Why?
Because the atmosphere is being pulled along with the Earth as the Earth rotates. It's irrelevant. The speed of
wouldn't
rotation.
It be far simpler to invoke Occam's razor once again and say that we don't have to account for unassumed bullshit because it doesn't exist. And we're just dropping.
Well, there's tons of things that exist that we don't have to account for.
No. We have to account for everything that exists.
All right. That gentleman LJ sent another super chat and it said, "Carl, what would it take for you to change your mind?"
Nothing. I've flown around the Earth. I've seen so many different unrelated. I can talk about things that I've seen. Tons of different. I mean, all these things that I've seen that prove that the Earth is a ball. Tons. And I've sailed around the Earth too, and all the navigation works, and it only works if the Earth is a ball. That's it. I'm not biased.
Go around the block, does that prove the block is a ball?
I'm not biased, Ross. I think it would be fun if the Earth was flat. I would love it. I would take this boat and go find the ice wall. It just doesn't exist. You know that there's a boat race.
You already know that the Earth is flat, and you know that the boat can only float and sail plain sailing, that it cannot account for curvature of water, especially because water doesn't do that.
Okay, Ross. The Earth, the oceans curve, Ross. I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Why would they curve up to eye level in the first place before suddenly dropping
away? They don't come to eye level, Ross. From 38,000 feet, my normal cruise altitude is about 35 to 40,000 feet. The oceans do not rise to eye level; they drop forward and down.
Feet now? Are you at 40,000 feet now?
No, I think I'm about 2 meters off the water.
So you're about 6 feet off the ground.
Yeah, sure. Off the water,
rising to your eye level or not?
Here?
Carl,
I don't know. I can't see it.
Carl, don't lie. You know that's the third story of your yacht.
I don't know what to tell you, brother.
It is in a tin can.
All right. I am gonna have to move on to the next question. We got some good flow of super chats coming in here. Next up is Empty Box for 10 says, "Is gravity true? Why or why not?"
Gravity is unnecessary. On the stationary plane of Earth, basically gravity comes from the word gravis, which just means weight. And so we believe in weight, and weight has a measurement that we measure when something is stationary and fixed on a flat, stationary, hard surface. You can measure the weight of something. If you put the same weight on a scale on a carpet, it's going to measure different. So gravity, it's not necessary for the stationary plane of Earth because we can just have relative density and that explains why everything moves up or down relative to the medium it's in. The gravity is only required for the spinning space ball to describe why people aren't falling off the bottom of the earth.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah.
Okay, relative density. So you have a soccer ball filled with air and a soccer ball filled with lead. You drop them from a height. Are they going to fall at the same direction at the same rate?
No, they're not, because relative to the medium that they're in, the soccer ball full of air is actually going to float, kind of, be a little bit more buoyant, and it will not hit the ground at the same time as the one full of lead.
That's not true, Ross. The only thing
That
that
is
flows
actually true.
no, it's not true. It's not true. A soccer ball filled with lead and a soccer ball filled with air will fall in the same direction. Do you agree that they're going to fall in the same direction?
Yeah, they'll still fall.
Okay, so but that's
density.
about as difference of density as you can get. It's a difference in density as you can get. A soccer ball filled with lead and a soccer ball filled with air. You're telling me they're going to fall in the same. You're going to tell me that they're going to fall in the same direction, but they're very different densities. They're extremely different densities.
Yeah, but relative to the density of air, they're quite different.
The balls are quite different. The balls are extremely different densities, and they fall in the same direction. And they are close to the same rate. They will fall at very close to the same rate.
Yeah,
Try
but
it.
The soccer ball is still more dense than the air itself, so it's still going to fall through the air until
So
it
then
reaches
give me a
place.
formula. Give me a formula for
resist it, which is the ground.
Then give me a formula where it shows the difference in density and how it changes the speed of a soccer ball as it falls toward the earth. What's the formula to tell us what the difference in speed is going to be between a soccer ball filled with lead and a soccer ball filled with air dropped from a height? There has to be a formula for that. There's not.
I don't need a formula, but yeah, you could work one out if you wish to. If you're that nerdy, you'd need a formula to describe it. A formula is basically just an abbreviation of the rational explanation that we use in words anyway.
But
and
density doesn't move anything.
In words anyway, so why would you need
density? Doesn't move anything. Density is not a force.
No, density is a force of resistance, and the higher the
density is not a force of anything.
The more resistant. That is why the soccer ball will float in the medium of water, because it's more dense than air, but the one filled with lead is still going to sink because it's more dense than the water.
Density doesn't move anything. Density is just a ratio of how big something is compared to how much it weighs. That's all it is.
Oil
it doesn't move anything. What?
Why does oil float on water?
I don't know. I'm sure it's less dense than
there
water.
You go. So density.
Yeah, but it doesn't move it. But it doesn't move it, Ross.
It does. The water moves.
No, it doesn't. Density does not move anything. The buoyancy formula, which has gravity in it, is the force. Buoyancy is a force. Density is not a force.
Is a force of acceleration, and when something is measured as a weight, it has zero acceleration. Therefore, anything multiplied by zero is zero.
Ross, we're talking about movement. A force has a vector. A force has to have a vector. If you have something, oh, sorry about that. If you have something at rest, it doesn't have a vector, so there is no force.
Accidental tour.
It has a direction. A force has a direction. So buoyancy. Oh, I broke my plane.
Oh,
I think it's
nothing.
fixable.
Nothing. A little super glue won't fix. I do got to go to the next question though.
Yeah, that's fine. I fixed it.
Sorry to cut you off there, Ross. But next one is from Bless My Vibe Code for 5 says, Iron Horse, you should host a radio station on GTA 6. I could listen to your stuff all day cruising through Leonida. If that was a feature, that'd actually be pretty cool if anyone could host a podcast on the radio.
Is GTA 6 out?
November, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm waiting patiently.
GTA 6? I'm interested. I'd rather be doing something like that.
We got this debate before GTA 6. All right.
I work my guts out through the week. Oh, man.
Yeah,
sorry about the sun.
11 days, 5 days a week, and pouring rain. Oh, I'd do anything to just sit in the studio and just be able to talk for a living.
Next up is Jim Daniels, 1532 for 5. Thank you, Jim. Says, did Iron Horse show any evidence yet? I must have missed it. That was, I think, during your opening statement.
Well, you don't show evidence. You speak about it. It's a logistical explanation. You know, if you can prove that we're moving through a vacuum of space, fine. I'll be happy to listen to your evidence. But to me, you don't need evidence to debunk something that requires the positive claim. We just sit here in the relative knowledge that we're not moving, we're not hurtling through a vacuum of space.
You know what's interesting, Ross? You'd mentioned the Burj Khalifa. I can see it from here.
Oh, cool. Can you watch the sun come up a second time?
On the Burj Khalifa, you watch it come up first from the top floor, and then you descend in the elevator really quickly, and then you watch it come up again. You can do the same with the sunset.
Because when I was living in this place called Coracai, it's a very flat place on the east coast of Australia, and I'd watch the sun come up as I'm driving to work, and as I got closer towards these little hills towards Ballina, I would actually watch the sun set and come up a second time too. And I didn't even have to go up in a building. I'm just driving along flatland. So,
well, you should try it in an airplane. We can watch the sunset, and then if we climb and fly west, we can watch it rise again.
That's pretty cool. I'm going to go to the next question here. LJ69 again says, how can you land on a 1,000-mile-per-hour spinning ball?
Because the atmosphere is being pulled along with the rotation of the Earth. So it's simple. We're flying in the atmosphere, which is rotating with the Earth. Now, what does happen, and it can be kind of difficult, is that when we get strong crosswinds, sometimes it can be fairly difficult.
So when the wind is perfectly still and it's still going 1 1/3 times the speed of sound,
when all the forces negate each other, we have still wind.
Huh.
All right. Next question is from Jack Fetter, or comment, I should say. He says, gotta love flirfs. They think they know more than a military/commercial pilot. Typical Dunning-Kruger.
I don't think I know more than him. I will acquiesce to his wisdom when it comes to how to fly a plane. I've never flown one in my life.
But not navigation. I don't understand.
But the guy I quoted in my opening statement was a merchant sea captain, and he also had a amateur pilot's license. And he was the first one to tell me the Earth is flat. And I
based on the Suez Canal. Based on the Suez Canal.
No, that was the evidence he brought up as his best evidence that he could bring up at the time, because I questioned him. I said, how can the Earth possibly be flat? But yeah, the Suez Canal should have about 2.5 Burj Khalifas that drop from one end to the other, and it doesn't. It's perfect.
But that's not the way it works, Ross. They're just like our flight paths. Just like our flight paths curve.
Thanks for talking over me, Carl. That's fine. But which boat going from this end of the Burj Khalifa, from the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea, which one of them is going up curve and which one is going down curve?
They're not. They're going level. They're going level. And the definition of a level is they're conforming to the curvature of the Earth.
Flat.
It's not flat, Ross. They're conforming with the curvature of the Earth.
It's 100% flat. Water does not lie. Water cannot go up and over 1/2 mile of hump.
It's not going up and over. It's not going up and over. It's not going. The definition of level is conforming with the liquid water, the liquid parts of the Earth.
But it has to do that in order for your Earth to be a globe.
No, it doesn't. Level is perpendicular to the force. Level is perpendicular to the force of gravity. Level is perpendicular to the force of gravity.
But there is no force of gravity. We've proven that. It's just density.
We haven't. No, it's not density, Ross. Density does not determine which direction I stand.
So let's say I have a 20,000 kilogram ball of steel and I drop it in the ocean. It's going to sink to the bottom, right? But if I beat and flat and roll it out into a ship, the same exact amount of weight and mass is going to float. Where is gravity?
That is the buoyancy formula, Ross. That is the buoyancy formula, which has buoyancy formula. And the buoyancy formula has gravity as one of its numerators. So,
but gravity
is involved in buoyancy.
No acceleration. It is floating. It is buoyant. It's the same mass, different relative density compared to the medium because it's full of air.
In the buoyancy formula is gravity. I don't know what else to tell you. You can look at it's not zero.
Acceleration is your formula.
I know what to tell you, and that is that I have to go to the next question.
Move on. Good.
So retired 2920 for 5 says, these are 5 Australian, I think. How in the summertime the sun rises in the southeast and sets in the southwest on a flat Earth? Ross?
That's a slightly more complicated situation, and I don't know if it's the place to introduce
Occam's razor.
I don't know if that's the place to introduce it into a debate, but I've made a video on my channel, which you can find, called Lucy in the Sky of Diamonds, which describes how in the book of Enoch, there is somebody who was shown how our firmament works, and he describes it as a great and terrible emerald. And I see that as then being a diamond cut jewel through which the sun and the luminaries shine through onto our Earth. And so when you've got multiple different facets around the edge, on the inside of the northern hemisphere, you've got your basic singular facet of what you see, everything. And just like a kaleidoscope, you've got multiple facets around the outside, all showing identical images to one another at different times of day and night. And they will show the exact same projection of the stars that they're seeing. You will get, what was the question again?
Sun rises.
Why does the sun rise? Yeah, rise in the southeast.
So the sun gets projected down through in each one of these facets. So that once it reaches past the equator, it reaches one of these facets, and that will make it appear to be more south of west and south of east, etc. as it goes around. Same reason why the stars appear to rotate opposite directions. They're going in a different facet.
You said this is on your YouTube channel?
24-hour sun in Antarctica.
Ross?
Yeah. It's called Lucy in the Sky of Diamonds. I made it
retired 2920. Go check that out if you want, I guess, a more longer detailed explanation. But we got to move it right along here. Bless my vibe code sent another 5 and said, rename this episode Patriot U.S. military vet who fought for America, freedom, and liberty annihilates enemy foreign terrorist flirt propagandist LMFAO.
Who's that guy?
Bless my vibe code. He's a regular chatter here.
Awesome.
Or she. I don't know.
Brother.
They.
An airplane never hit the Pentagon.
Oh, Tony.
They sent another one right after and said, does the flat Earth have a radius equals 20,000 kilometers?
No. We believe that the stationary planar Earth fixed at the base of the universe is potentially infinite. If we were going to measure the circumference of our ice wall, we'd probably say at least 100,000 kilometers, maybe more, maybe less, I don't know. But it's hard to measure. It's hard to navigate.
It's not hard to measure. It's not hard to measure. There's a sailboat race that goes around Antarctica.
Nowhere to fly and land and refuel. So no, we believe it's infinite.
There's a sailboat race that goes around the continent of Antarctica.
Yeah, continent hops between each different continent, which I already know of, which are already mapped here. They only once.
It goes all the way around Antarctica.
At the bottom of South America.
It goes all the way around Antarctica. I think a woman won it last year.
That's also on a playlist. If you look up on my playlist as well, also one that's called Flights on the Flat Earth. And the Vendée Cup race, I think, is the second one on it.
All right. Next up is Big League Drew for 5. Hey, Drew, welcome to the chat. He says, if level is curved, how do surface plates work?
I don't know what's a surface plate.
Elaborate, Big League, if you are in the chat.
That's a good question, yeah, because it makes perfect sense of plates floating.
What's a surface plate? Does it mean tectonic plates? Tectonic is not my thing, but
you would think so, because a plate floating on a surface of water, like a landberg or an iceberg or whatever, it's still going to be floating on the same level.
The continents are not islands; they don't float. They're actually attached to the surf. They're actually attached to the Earth. The continents are not floating.
Uh-huh.
You don't believe the continents float, do you?
Not necessarily. They could be.
Not what?
They
Continents are
could
not
be. Like,
floating. They're not
like
floating on the
Lambert.
surface of the water. Continents do
But-
not.
Lava.
well, I'm not a Bible believer, but the Bible does say that they're fixed upon pillars.
Then why did you do the Book of Enoch? If you're not a Bible believer,
Because
why did
it's
you
not
bring
in the
that?
Bible. It's the Enoch's
No,
not in there.
but Enoch is a biblical book.
No, well, just because
It
comes
didn't
from
get- it didn't get entered into
Don't
the
you guys
Bible
wrote
because-
the ancient Greeks from thousands of years ago. Yeah, where's the Book of Eratosthenes? It should be in the Bible too.
And it's it is a religious book. You would agree that Enoch is a religious book.
Well, I don't know because it's not in the Bible.
Well, there's a lot of books that are religious that aren't Bibles.
You have a Book of Pythagoras. Is that also in the Bible?
I'm not familiar with that book.
No, because these guys.
But Enoch
always-
talks about
Okay.
like angels.
But
Enoch
what's the
talks
difference
about
between some that are in the
angels.
Bible and some that aren't in the Bible? Why are some
Well, Enoch-
better than
Enoch is a religious book. I mean, they talk about angels coming down and like making love with humans. I mean, it's a religious book.
Okay, fine. And Pythagoras isn't.
Kitty.
Pythagoras is just.
I don't know.
mathematics.
I don't know that book.
Eratosthenes, Aristotle, all of these ancient Greeks. Well, they were at the same
Oh,
time, but
I lived
because
in
they're not
Greece
in the Bible, well, they're better.
No,
they're better.
no,
we're on
I
the,
lived
we're
in
standing on the
Greece.
shoulders of giants.
No, I lived in Greece. Greece is an amazing country, and they're some of their architecture and some of the things that they solved with science way early. They're amazing culture.
And are they better than the Egyptians? Have they got pyramids?
No, I think it's different. I mean, the Egyptians were also amazing. I mean, there's all sorts of theories about how the Egyptians, made their technology. That's a whole nother topic.
And is that in the Bible? Is any of that in the Bible? Because I believe there's an Egyptian Bible as well.
I honestly don't know.
Or Ethiopian Bible.
Yeah, we'll go on to the next one here. LJ says, Carl, show a video of you flying a plane. Laughing emoji.
You want? I have one. Well, I don't know. I don't have a video. I've got pictures.
Got the receipts.
What does he want? What does he want to see? Which airplane? I've got the EA-6B Prowler, 747. Give me one. I'll show you the 747 one. This is me. And the 747. I'm the guy. Whoops.
Yep.
Sorry. Let me see if I can tilt it this way's good. That's me. I'm a first officer there. We're flying over the Sea of Japan. The other guy is Captain Martin Baldacci. Super nice guy. He's actually related to Baldacci, the author.
I think I saw the curvature.
No, not in that picture. It was all washed out.
Right. Cassetio for 5 says, if the sun is always above the clouds, how can the bottom side of the clouds light up during sunrise and sunset?
That's a great question for Ross.
Okay, well, in my opinion, the sun is what creates daylight, and it projects out solar radiant energy the entire time of the day. And our atmosphere is composed of a whole composite of different gases, some of them noble. And the noble gas neon is the one that gives us our most brightest daylight. And when it's most stimulated by the sun, that's what creates the heat of the day, especially as it reflects off things. And that's why clouds through the daytime will reflect white. But at the edges of the neon glow or fluorescence is when the sun gets far enough away, it's not actually lighting the clouds themselves, it's lighting the atmosphere, and it's lighting the fluorescent gas of neon, and at the peripherals it glows orange, and that's why the clouds will reflect that orange glow at the end of the day, especially sometimes far in the east. Long after the sun has set from our view, we can see clouds far in the east still reflecting orange off the bottoms, but not off the tops. And for that to work on the globe, where the Earth is spinning 1 1/3 times the speed of sound, and to think that that is sunlight, it would happen in a split second. It'd be such a rare event. We'd never see it. It's just a normal everyday event on the stationary planet Earth.
Can I show a picture? I got a picture. See this? See that airplane? That's the bottom of the airplane. and it's being lit up, and it's being lit up by the sun. The sun is reflecting off the bottom of the airplane. And the reason for that is that picture was taken right around sunset. So the sun was over the curvature of the earth and it was hitting the bottom of the airplane. And it was dark on the ground. A lot of times when you see airplanes, you know, in the sky, you can actually see the contrails. You can actually see them being lit up by the sun from underneath, but you're actually in the dark. Why? Because the sun is around the curvature of the earth.
So why is he spraying chemtrails on the people beneath?
You really want to get into that debate about chemtrails? I'll be happy to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe on a separate debate. I don't know that we get into that on MDD, but I am going to start doing some off MDD brand stuff over on my personal channel. Maybe I'll get you guys on there. Episode 2.
On a personal note, I actually really enjoyed this. So anything aviation related or space related, anything that's in one of my wheelhouses like that, I'm all about it. This was fun.
Yeah, we still have some super chats left. Let's roll through them real quick. The last one we read, I believe, was about the clouds. So the next one is Shmuel Sperling for 15 shekels. It says, is it similar in other planets? Or is it similar in other planets? Does wind flow in and out of Uranus? Oh, that's a good one.
I love that. They have gas
that
giants.
That was a good one.
Where's my mind?
All right, retired 2920 sent another 5. That's your boy, Carl. He said, on a globe, every latitude line goes around the South Pole and the North Pole at the same time. Now, how is this possible on a flat Earth?
Our latitude lines do actually go pear-shaped at the equator. They get a bit chubbier, as Neil deGrasse Tyson explained, and they continue to get chubbier. We're looking at completely different things once we go beyond the equator, and they are not equal and opposite to what you believe they are on a ball.
So you keep quoting Neil deGrasse Tyson. Do you believe everything he says, or is he full of crap?
Well, he's obviously full of crap because he has to be quoting the mainstream belief of the globe, and that's why he says they go pear-shaped below the equator. Or
is that your best impression, Ross? That was your best one?
Not really. I mean, I could practice it a bit, but yeah.
All right, we gotta bust through these other ones here. Did you answer that to the extent that you wanted to? I might have cut you off.
Yeah, whatever. Let's go.
All right, next up, Hayden Shearer for 15, I believe Australian. The analogy of air dragged by the train isn't analogous because we don't observe vertical eddy air currents like the train, and would only occur on the sides of the planet.
What?
I think
the sides of the planet. The planet doesn't have sides.
Well, it does because it's on a tilt. And so the side of the equator would be a side where it's going the most amount of speed and then getting less and less towards the poles. So it's definitely got a side, east, west, north, south.
Well, I mean, it's a sphere. So a sphere doesn't have sides. If you want to talk about, you know, the axis and, you know, perpendicular to the axis or the rotation, fine. But I mean, a sphere doesn't have sides.
You've also got then relative to the sun, that's the inside, and then the side opposite, which would be night, that's the outside. You do definitely have sides, and there's definitely going to be changes of speed relative to the sun as you're hurtling around it. There's definitely sides. And you were the one that brought up the train analogy to say about motion.
Yeah, well, the only reason I brought up the train analogy is to show that wind gets pulled along by the friction of an object as it moves through the atmosphere. So as the Earth rotates, the atmosphere gets pulled along with the Earth. That's all. That's the only reason I made that analogy. It doesn't have anything to do with size.
Hang on a sec. This is the train relative to a stationary Earth through the atmosphere. You're trying to say the entire Earth with the atmosphere is dragging along somehow.
Well, there's nothing.
It's completely two different things.
No, as the Earth rotates, let me get my Earth. As the Earth rotates, right? And I mean, even along the axis,
Right.
as the Earth rotates, the atmosphere gets pulled along with it because there's no other force to restrict it from doing so.
What
The friction of
What
friction
force
of-
pulls it?
what's that?
Friction. Are you saying the friction pulls the wind?
The friction pulls the atmosphere.
How? When
Just like a train pulls air with it.
No,
As
but
the
the train
goes.
the train gets friction from the atmosphere and makes it go slower. It doesn't pull the air with it, except for
Of
when
course
it
it does.
Because
Of course
it's moving
air
through
gets
the
pulled with the
atmosphere,
train.
it's
You
separate
yourself
from the
admitted. You yourself admitted that if you're standing on a train platform and a train
Right.
comes busting through, it's not
Yeah.
stopping at this platform. It comes busting through. It actually creates quite a bit of wind.
Yeah, but that's separate from what you're saying, where the
No, it's not.
entire
It's just-
Earth, with all the wind, is moving through itself somehow, unlike a train moving separate from the Earth. You're saying the entire Earth is moving through the wind.
The only reason I bring up the train is to show that.
Vacuum.
No, the only reason I bring up the
Vacuum.
train.
Come on, man.
No, the only reason I bring up the train, Ross.
Hayden commented, trying to, I guess, maybe clarify. He said, "Don't see vertical eddy currents like a train."
I don't understand. Like,
I don't
what
know
do
if
you
that
mean?
cleared it up or made it more confusing.
There's a lot of vertical eddy currents in the Earth. I mean, in fact, you can see.
The currents you're getting are from a thing actually moving through the atmosphere.
No, you
You're
get
trying to say the
vertical.
entire atmosphere is moving with the Earth as
get-
though it's standing perfectly still.
Wait,
And that makes no sense.
let's talk about vertical currents. So this question was specifically about vertical currents.
Vertical,
You can
while
see vertical.
moving,
You
one
no, you
third
can
times the speed of sound.
you can see vertical currents. When you see a thunderstorm, that's a vertical current. You can actually see a thunderstorm build. The air is actually moving upward and it's creating a thunderstorm. I can get into lapse rates, adiabatic lapse rates.
And I'm looking outside and I can't see any vertical anything.
There's vertical currents all the time. We feel them in the airplane. How do you think a glider stays airborne? It has a vertical. Gliders, you know what they do? They find ridges, and the air hits the ridge, and it rises, and a glider can fly through that. Do you see? We see it here. You see birds.
Temperature
You see birds, and they don't even flap their wings. They rise with the air currents. There's vertical air currents.
Air has a certain amount of friction, and then wings are shaped to capture.
No,
that
well,
friction
air
and
rises.
lift,
Warm air
moving
rises.
through it. If they stood
Warm air
still
rises.
and they weren't flapping, they'd drop.
No, warm air rises. So, like, when you heat up the surface of the Earth, that warm air rises, and that's why you have thunderstorms usually in moist, warm places, because the warm air rises with a lot of moisture in it, and then when it gets higher,
direction.
No,
I can't see the air going upwards. I don't know what you're talking about.
A thunderstorm? How do you think a thunderstorm forms? What do you think a thunderstorm is, Ross?
All my life, I'm a weather watcher. I'm so in tune with the weather you would not imagine.
So how do you think a thunderstorm
forms? What you say about air currents going upwards, they don't. A thunderstorm stays where it is, and it forms, and it starts forming more and more thunder, and gets closer.
You know what a thunderstorm is? A thunderstorm. Do you know how a thunderstorm develops? So a thunderstorm is warm, moist air that rises. As that air rises, it cools. What happens when the air cools? It actually condenses, and that's why you see a cloud. And you can actually see the cloud rise. And as it gets up, there's actually two different lapse rates.
I've never seen a cloud rise. What are you talking about? I watch
What?
clouds all the fucking time, man. I'm
Clouds
a cloud
rise.
watcher. That's what I do, man. I am a weather watcher. That's how I know that the chemtrails are messing with our natural weather systems. I watch the weather all the time. I watch clouds all the time. I know. I've never watched a cloud go up. Never.
No, I'm talking. So it builds, right? So at a certain altitude, you see that clouds usually form at a certain altitude, right? The moisture is about the same, and they form at about a certain altitude, right? And then you see cumulus clouds, right? Cumulus clouds, they get puffy, right? You've seen puffy clouds. That's warm air rising. That's warm, moist air rising is what a puffy cloud is. Now, a thunderstorm is a very big puffy cloud, and that air is rising. It's a rising air current.
You're not talking to a 5-year-old here, mate. I watch clouds all the time.
I fly in
know the weather.
I fly in
know.
Do you know what hail is?
Yeah.
Do you know how it forms? Do you know why hail forms? Because the air is rising. Russ, listen to me for a second. Hail forms because the air is rising so fast that it actually keeps the water from falling, and it freezes. The air is rising so fast that the rain can't actually fall. So the water freezes, and then it gets heavy enough where it finally falls. And you've seen where hail can get really big. Why is hail so big? Why doesn't it fall when it's small? Because the air is rising so fast, it keeps the moisture up there, and it freezes and freezes and freezes and freezes and gets big. And then eventually the weight is so much that it overpowers the rising air current, and it falls, and you get hail.
All right, last response, and I got to move on, Ross.
No, that's really interesting because I've seen hail from all sizes, from whether it be a couple of millimeters up to, golf ball or even baseball sized pieces of hail.
So you tell me why hail waits to fall when it's a golf ball, but it doesn't fall before.
It's definitely not because of gravity, is it? It's obviously because
the air is rising so fast that it overcomes the downward force of the hail.
And that still negates then your spinning space ball, because you believe that the spinning space ball is going 1/3 times the speed of sound in a particular direction while also orbiting the sun.
Ross, you said you're a weather guy, but you can't even explain hail. You said you're a weather guy, and you can't even.
All right, guys, I gotta stop it there. We'll get there on every other comment if I let you. So Jack Fetter for 5 says Ross can't/won't answer a simple question. Another Fleur failure. I can't believe we even have flat earthers today. So dumb, so embarrassing. #Globe.
Well, thanks, that was a simple question.
Hey, Ross. Let's keep score. Let's keep score. How many people in the comments have said that I don't know what I'm talking about versus you don't know what you're talking about?
To be fair, Jack is a regular commenter on every flat Earth video, and he sent like 5 super chats.
Truth isn't a democracy. I'd much rather be on the minority than.
We did get another. Sorry to interrupt, but we did get another comment from Hayden Shearer, who was talking about the train eddy analogy thing. He said, we are going a cumulative speed of 1.5 million miles /h spinning curving. So in space, we would measure acceleration outwards, but we don't.
Exactly. Well, you mean, that I never got to that point because we had to move on. But as far as rotational speed, so with the Earth orbiting the sun, it does a 360-degree turn in 1 year. That is a long time to do a 360-degree turn. You're not going to feel that. You're not going to feel that orbit. I mean, if you think about an airplane going 600 miles an hour, and it turns 90 degrees in 10 hours, you would never feel that. Never. And we're talking about going 66,000 miles an hour and doing 360 degrees in a year. You're not going to feel that.
I believe that they're actually turning 360 degrees in 24 hours, which would be 24,901 miles, and you divide that by 24 equals 1,000.
We're talking about orbital velocity. We're talking about orbital velocity around the sun.
Okay, but you're doing both at the same time. So.
All right, next one is from Jack Fetter again. He says, Ross, Orion's belt is essentially over the equator. Show us Polaris from Australia or Crooks from anywhere in North America, north of the Florida Keys.
Yeah, well, see, that's another dumb Glover argument, is that whenever you travel anywhere, you're going to see different things. And so that's what we see on the stationary planet Earth, is the more you travel outwards, the more you're going to see different stars. It's pretty straightforward. So I wouldn't expect to see, especially because our Earth was mapped in the first place by viewing Polaris, the fixed star, 90 degrees above the North Pole. that it drops by degrees as you move further and further outwards. By the time you reach the equator, it's at 0 degrees. So you're not going to see it beyond the convergence point at 0 degrees, which is thousands and thousands of miles away. And that is why we start seeing different stars if we turn around especially and look the other way. So no, you're never going to see Polaris beyond the equidistant point away from it, by which the world itself was mapped in the first place, in circles. And that's what gives the illusion of curvature. It's just circles around a fixed point in the center.
Right. Retired 2920 again says, Ross, every claim you have made, you have provided zero evidence.
Well, what claim would you like evidence for? Like, I just made one about the equator, and that works exactly as we view it. Is distance away, things appear to get lower and lower as you move away from it. You look down the far end of a tunnel, the far end of the tunnel is going to be very low. Go down the other end of the tunnel, that end of it's now going to appear really high, and the end that you were previously under that appeared high now appears low. We're just dealing with scale here. I don't know what sort of evidence you want, but if you have evidence for us spinning and hurtling and twirling and whirling through a vacuum of space at the various speeds that your model requires, I'm happy to embrace them and deduce them and tell you how ridiculous they are.
Well, I mean, the easiest thing is distance to prove that the Earth is flat or a ball, and you can't even give me one distance using that map behind you. That's a problem, Ross.
Distance is time when it comes to flight.
Distance is not time.
It is.
Distance is not time. Distance has nothing to do with time.
So how long does it take you to fly from Dubai to Tokyo?
It depends, Ross. It depends. What are the winds? What's our route? What airspace is closed? What are our diverts? It depends, but the distance never changes.
So the distance requires time.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't require time. Does a yardstick require time? If I have a yardstick,
yeah,
that's measuring a distance. If you and I were to hold a string that's 500 feet long, does that require any time to measure that distance?
Well,
is time anywhere in there? Is time anywhere in there? If you and I are holding a string 500 feet long, that's measuring a distance without having anything to do with time.
So how long does it take to get from one end to the other? Time.
I don't know, Ross. I don't know all the factors involved. What are the winds?
What color is the string?
Do you know that the weight of the airplane also determines its speed? If you're full, you have to fly faster. If you're empty, you don't have to fly as fast. There's a million factors that determine airspeed.
Okay.
So
all right.
It has and airspeed determines flight time. So time and speed have nothing to do with distance. Distance is its own specific measurement that is not variable. It's always the same.
No one wants to answer my what color the string is question, though. Okay.
And you can't give me one distance off that map behind you. Just give me a distance. Johannesburg to Auckland, and you can't do it. That's a problem. You don't see that as a problem?
New York to Washington.
New York to Washington? Which Washington? Washington State or Washington, D.C.?
I don't fucking know. John. I'm not American.
I think he means Washington State, but I'm going to move on here. We got like
five miles.
5 questions left. Thank you, Life in HD. Purple string. Now someone's showing me I'm being heard. All right.
Purple string.
This is a bad joke, but anyways, next one is Yerba Mate Talk sends woos for 30 pesos or something. Oh no, that's the denomination itself. My bad, Max. I just figured that's what you were trying to say. With the subtext here, after show on Yerba Mate Talks, open panel, let's discuss. Okay, he's not saying uwu. What are those, pesos? Thank you. Yerba Mate after show. If either of you guys want to go on there and hash it out further or debate him or someone else. Next up, and he's a mod, so thank you, Max, for modding there. Post the link in the chat if you could of the DebateCon tickets one more time. Thank you. Jack Federer for 5 says SpaceX has successfully landed Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy boosters on land 91 times. Typical flirts. Do zero research. That's probably related to the rocket question.
I'd love to know exactly how they do that. If the Earth is spinning 1/3 times the speed of sound, what sideways trajectory they must be calculating for, depending on the time of day and the latitude, in order to create the appearance.
It's extremely impressive. It's very, very impressive that SpaceX can do that. That they can return their boosters. It's absolutely mind blowing. It's really cool.
Absolutely, especially if you believe the heliocentric model.
The heliocentric model has nothing to do with
mind.
All right, well let's wrap these questions up, guys. We're at the final leg here, and then I'll let you guys shout out your channels real quick, and we'll wrap it up for the evening. We only have probably another 15
it's
minutes
7
or
o'clock
so.
in the morning.
Well, sorry, it's bedtime for me. We're getting there.
Bedtime for me. 7 o'clock in the morning here.
All right. Well, I hope you have a good day. Hey, Icy Spin. Or no, this is Hayden is next. Again, the train Eddie guy says, air gets pulled along, but it's free-flowing, so the air up higher will drag behind like in a blender at the outside, but we don't observe this.
I don't understand that question.
I don't think it was a question.
Well, I don't understand that statement.
I don't understand that either. Can you say it one more time, please?
So this is in relation to all the train Eddie conversation. He's the same guy that was weighing on the analogy earlier. He said air gets pulled along, but it's free flowing, so the air up higher will drag behind like in a blender at the outside, but we don't observe this ... Still
don't understand what that means.
All right, sorry Hayden.
Okay.
We got to move on.
Pictures of, say, volcanoes, for example, and you can see that the volcano plume isn't get pulled behind the Earth whatsoever.
Oh,
wait, as though the Earth is stationary.
Wait, really? Wait.
Although a little bit of wind might pull.
Oh my God, look at that volcano.
Is that live?
Look at that
that's
volcano.
a picture.
Is that moving 1/3 times the speed of sound, or what?
I don't know how fast that air is going, but that definitely... Whoops, sorry. What? Jeez, I'll give you my credit card.
Natural wind.
That definitely looks like the Earth is spinning.
Definitely not 1/3 times the speed of sound, and definitely not.
I don't know how
around the sun. 86.8 times the speed of
straight
sound.
up. That is definitely not going straight up.
Because we have wind.
Like that.
We expect.
And what creates the wind, Ross?
Temperature fluctuations, the sun moving around.
The rotation of the Earth creates winds.
Because the sun moves around above us. Yep, you got
it. Do you really believe that the sun goes through the atmosphere and creates winds?
No. The sun is well above the atmosphere. But the effect of the sunlight through the atmosphere is what creates the winds.
How high is the sun?
Probably at least 60 to 70 miles.
So if the sun is 60 or 70 miles above the Earth, how does it light up half the Earth at one time?
Because we see it through a direct line of sight through the atmosphere, which is the veil that gives us
60 or 70 miles, Ross. That's not very
high. But the veil of the atmosphere is only about 12 to 14 miles high.
So how big would the sun appear? So if it's 60 or 70 miles high, how big would it have to be to see it from 10,000 miles away? And it looks like a ball.
It doesn't matter about the size, because you're going to see the same thing through the veil of the atmosphere, which will create the same apparent size as it passes through the atmosphere, which is still only 12 to 14 miles high, where it creates the apparition of light that appears to be the sun that we see.
A ball 60 or 70 miles above a stationary Earth, and you see it from 10,000 miles away, and it still looks like a big ball. How big would that ball have to be for the person right underneath it that's looking straight up at it?
So here's a question for you then. If you're holding a laser pointer in your hand, You didn't ask
I
the
asked
question.
the question and you can't answer it.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to answer it with an example. If you're holding a laser pointer in your hand and you're pointing the laser 50 meters away, does that mean that the little point of dot of light is somehow going to appear smaller than what it is when it comes from the laser? And as you move this around really fast, does that mean that your hand is moving just as fast as that laser dot is going to be moving through the sky? All you're going to see is the apparition of light itself that comes from the source, but that's got nothing to do with the source itself, the size of it, or the speed of it. You're just going to see the result of it as it comes through the atmosphere.
If I'm sitting under a ball and it's only 60 or 70 miles high, and I see a ball, and I see a ball,
that's massive.
So I see a ball up there, 60 or 70 miles above me, and you have someone 10,000 miles away,
yeah,
and that ball appears the same size as me looking up at it. How is that possible?
Because you are both seeing it through the same veil or atmospheric layer, 12 to 14 miles high, through a direct line of sight to each one of you. And so it's going to appear to be exactly the same size to each one of you because you're seeing it through your own localized little atmosphere. You're not seeing the ball that you think you're seeing, which is the actual
Occam's razor, Ross. A ball 60 miles above me is going to be much, much bigger than someone that's 10,000 miles away looking at the same ball. But it's going to be much bigger for me because I'm so much closer to it. I'm magnitudes.
It's the size of a laser dot. Let's say it's the size of a laser dot.
All right, we actually got to wrap this up, guys. I'm sorry, but if y'all can continue this on Yerba Mate Talks if you want. I mean, he's posted the link in the chat. Invites anyone to go on there, debate, have a conversation, whatever you guys want to do. I just got 4 chats left that I have to get to. We can't spend 10 minutes on each of them, unfortunately. Icy Spend for $2 says 3 gyros on a plane. Tell me you're wrong, Ross. Maybe he meant heroes, like sandwiches. But
3 gyros on a plane.
Tell me you're wrong, Ross. That's the end of the sentence there.
No.
Okay. Jack Feder for 5
he knows what he meant.
Says neon makes up only 19 parts per million in our atmosphere. Nice try, Ross. Hashtag fail big.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough too. But at the same time, when we have a light bulb, the entire gases inside the light bulb only have to be about a tiny 0.1% in order to produce fluorescence. And that's why, thank goodness, neon is such a tiny percentage of our atmospheric glow. And that's why we're not getting blasted by millions of lumens of light at the time. It's just the natural light we see.
Okay. Second to last one here is from 1313 Maryland. Second time she super chatted today. 2 different shows. Appreciate the support, Maryland. Even if every debater that you comment towards 90% of the time is opposed. But this one is probably the most positive comment I've seen you leave. For 5, it says, it's definitely a hologram, but you look so dapper, Iron Horse. Much love.
He does look down. You do look good, Ross. There is no doubt about it. You look better than me this morning.
All right. So there's a little positive, and we're gonna end it with scientific origins. For 2 says flat Earth is complete BS. What's your best evidence for it?
The fact that we're not moving through space, water finds its level, atmospheric pressure sits upon a stationary ground. And if you think we live on a spinning space ball, you're probably brainwashed, deluded, and beyond help. But
do you believe I'm brainwashed, Ross? Do you believe I'm brainwashed?
Don't forget deluded and beyond help, Carl.
Oh, sorry.
That's the whole sentence.
Brainwashed, deluded, but I think there's help. Yeah, if you're going to sit there with a ball in your hand,
as someone that has actually navigated myself around this thing,
yeah,
you think I'm brainwashed? No one had to tell me the shape of this.
Well, you tell me, Carl, why my father-in-law, who has navigated the world multiple times as a merchant sea captain, thinks the Earth is flat and stationary.
Maybe he had a mental episode.
And I thought he was insane.
I don't know.
I thought he was insane at the time. And now I think you're insane because I actually understand where he comes from and I understand what it does seek and find its level.
Do you see this boat behind me? I'm also a sea captain, and I know the Earth is round, and I've navigated in an airplane around it. And as far as an airplane is a much better tool to use to determine the shape of the Earth.
So when you're sailing on your boat, are you going up curve or down curve relative to a boat coming the other direction?
We're not curving. We're level. We're level with each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you know the definition of level? Do you want me to show it to you again, Ross?
Stationary,
level, conforming to the liquid parts of the curvature of the Earth. Conforming to the liquid parts of the curvature of the Earth is the definition of level. I don't know what else to tell you.
But which boat going across the Suez Canal is going up curve and which one's going down curve?
They're not going up curve. They're not going down curve.
Exactly. Yes.
They're level because they're conforming with the curvature of the Earth.
I educated a globe
today. Ross, level. Level, definition of level, conforming to the liquid parts of the curvature of the Earth. That's why they're level. They're on the curvature of the Earth in liquid water. They are level with each other.
Flat.
It's Ross, you know, I actually like you. You're actually a nice guy. And I'm sorry if I got a little heated during this.
No, you never did, mate. Nothing.
All right, good.
Nothing rattles me, man. Nothing rattles me. I can tolerate all sorts of...
Just a little accelerated chatter going on back and forth.
Ross, I actually like you. I think you're a nice guy. You have a dog, so you can't be bad.
Ross, everybody's asking to see the dog in the chat. Main character energy that dog's got.
That's a beautiful little dog, Ross. Anyone that has a dog is okay in my book. So, Ross, I've got nothing against you. I didn't call you one name. I think you might be stubborn, but I've got nothing against you. I think you're a nice guy. You definitely look better than you have. I appreciate the suit. I wish I would have done the same thing. I feel underdressed, and I apologize. So, Ross, you're a good guy, man. I've got nothing but love for you, man. I've got nothing, but don't ever call me a glorified bus driver again.
Okay, glorified bus driver.
I don't know how I missed that.
Sorry.
It was in the chat.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, was that said tonight? I thought I was listening pretty decently.
I'm a glorified bus driver of the air. Once you're in the air, you basically sit back and let the autopilot do everything.
That
bus driver
is so
wrong. The wheel the whole time, and I got
that is so wrong, Ross. You have no idea. You have no idea.
He's got to pull the chemtrail lever. There's a lot going on, Ross.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
All right, but I do want to give you guys. Want to give you guys a chance to shout out your channels, or where people could find you if you make any content at all. Go ahead, Ross. You start with that.
Yeah, I don't particularly make content. I do have a channel. It's called Iron Horse, of course. And I do Facebook. I do a little bit of Quora, but mostly I just stick to Facebook all the time. You can find me, Ross Thatcher is my name. I don't back down from anybody who wants to challenge, who thinks they live on a spinning space ball. I believe we live on a stationary planet Earth fixed at the base of the universe, and I am not backing down from any challenge whatsoever. Cheers.
Fair enough. Go ahead, Carl.
Yeah, the only thing I have is I have a Facebook page for my sailboat called Sailing Amelia. Just follow us around the world. We're not moving much right now. We're hanging out here in Dubai for the next 5 years while I work and save enough money to take this boat around the world again.
There you go. So, I Need a Container in the chat has been hounding me to beg you to do a tour of the boat. And I wasn't going to go there because, you know, might want to be pretty private on that stuff. But now you guys know he has a Facebook page for it. Go check it out. I Need a Container.
I'll give you a quick tour. There.
All right. That's good.
Called Amelia.
Good way to end it.
A quick tour. So we got, let's see, we got the bar.
Hell
we got a bar here. Then we go down
Sorry, Carl, did you say it's called Amelia?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, this is the galley. We've got a stateroom up there. We've got a stateroom back here. Come on board. We've got a nice room for you here. There, we got a nice
Nice.
Bedroom. Look out the window.
It's the MDD exclusive here.
Yeah, there's a toilet. Where's the toilet? There's a toilet in here somewhere.
Let's see that toilet.
Yeah, and then we've got other rooms over here. We've got another toilet. We've got a junk. This is where we keep all our junk. Whoops, where's my phone? Yeah, we've got a junk room. So yeah, and this is only one side. The other side has my wife in it sleeping.
Is it a catamaran?
Yeah, it's a catamaran.
Oh, those are my favorite. Those are sick. First sailboat I ever went in.
No, it's big. It's 60 feet long.
Yeah, my dad's a captain actually.
Wow.
He just sold his sailboat.
Oh, I love it. No, this is our home, and this is outside in Dubai right now. We got this weird neon green boat. But,
Can you see any like crazy buildings from there? Or are you on one of those palm tree like artificial
You can see the Burj Khalifa.
marinas?
There's the Burj Khalifa.
Wiz Khalifa is out there?
I don't. Can you see it? It's in the fog.
Oh no.
It's out there. This is called this hotel here is called Marsa Al Arab, and the Burj Al Arab it's you can just see the spire of it somewhere right in there.
No, Boost Monkey. This isn't MTV Cribs. It's MDD Cribs.
Oop, there we go. Yeah. No, it's my boat. This
Yeah,
is where we
appreciate
live.
that, Carl. Very cool.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Yeah, thanks, Carl.
I said it first,
Yeah.
Boost Monkey. All right, guys. Well, that was a lot of fun. We're gonna wrap it up here, and check us out. I believe we have a couple debates coming up this next week. Let me just double check. I'll let you guys know what they are.
Did you put it in a poll to see that most people believe we live on a
I did.
stationary planet?
I did put a poll up.
People believe we live on a
You guys can check that out. I don't have it right in front of me, unfortunately, what the results were. Let's see, we did get one more super chat, and since I like Big League Drew, I'll read that one. Oh, and there was one from Jack Feder. I'll read both back to back. Jack said
It's great.
0.01 is 10K parts per million, not 19. And then Big League Drew for 5 says, if level is conforming to liquid parts of the earth, how do surface plates work? A surface plate is a measurable and graded flat surface, typically granite. Okay, something to chew on there, guys.
Definitely flat.
I've never seen a granite plate. If he's talking about tectonic plates, yeah, they're attached to the surface of the earth. They're not floating in the oceans.
Okay, just want to let everybody know we do not have any debates coming up that I am aware of right now, other than the live stream DebateCon 8 schedule is up right now. It is they have live previews for each main debate that's going to be streamed, and they are behind the members only wall. So become a member at the final word level, which I'll put that up in the little thing here. Give me 1 second. Plug it. Boom. Final word channel member to watch it live. So that's if you have one of the other, like spectator, the debater. I've learned that you will have to upgrade to final word in order to watch all these live, and then they'll be up for a few weeks before they go public. So you'll have a ton of time before they actually drop to the general public to watch those exclusively, and that's going to be a lot of fun if you can't make it. So it'll be like you're there. Come hang out with us digitally. That being said, gentlemen, thank you. Have a good day, both of you. I know it's like midday for Ross, and it's just starting out the grind, as Life in HD said, for Carl.
Yeah.
I am going to bed.
Okay, good night, buddy. All right,
Cheers,
y'all.
Carl, and thank you very much, Mike.
My pleasure. Have a good one.
Appreciate it.
See you, Ross. Have a good